Yeah, he's. I feel like the way that you beat safe lane SF, or at least back when like Gaming Gladiators first started doing this in Tour 1, like way back when we first started seeing it as a safe laner, it was just kill the SF. That was the thing. It's just harder to do that now because the raise is much stronger for laning. You get the slow, and so there's always that like backwards kill threat where you go try to kill the SF and SF just kills you, and the Requiem, of course. But Tiny Dawn, it's just so much stun, so much damage between these two heroes, especially if they're cores.
With that said, we see the Silencer, of course, banned out. That's a support that would go with the Shadow Fiend as well. And are there any supports that could secure that laning stage that are still in? I keep thinking about Undying. It's another hero that was really popular during the group stages, but ignored for now.
Yeah.
We have the Invoker removed once again. Abed, of course, a strong force on that. And it also means that compared to previous game, we saw in this phase a lot of spirits removed for Abed, so it does make me think a little bit like, okay, Ember Storm still in the pool.
I mean, if they want to stabilize the lane, something that Jenkins mentioned is pairing up this Marcy with Shadow Fiend. There's also Clockwork in the pool, like some of these like strong fives, like even if we think about Chen and Enchantress come to my mind, where you can stabilize the lane for Shadow Fiend. It's not a setup for raises, but like Clockwork is.
But also, I do think that the spirits being banned out last game, the target ban of them was just a way to protect the mid Zeus that they revealed really early on. This time around, I do feel like they are inclined to build around this mid Tiny, and that is a hero that isn't really scared of spirit picks, the same way it's scared against annoying heroes that can match its rotations like Invoker. So I think a lot of Thunder's fans are kind of telling the story of what they want to do right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think like for EG, they could opt to pick some Undying, which is banned out, or Clockwork, because it means that I think already like FE Sang Thunder does want to run the Tiny mid, but if you pick like a Clockwork, you're basically forcing the Tiny to go mid. I don't think it is Thunder. We did see them do something similar last game, but you usually don't want to run a dual melee lane against an SF plus a Clockwork.
They did struggle.
They struggled in the lane. They struggled.
Yeah, it was a difficult lane for
They're
them to
looking
play.
at Lich still, potentially. Yeah. So I did mention this Lich earlier. It's just that Frost Shield is such an easy way to mitigate the damage coming out of Sidekick, which is the main thing that you think about when it comes to the synergy of Marcy plus SF. So Lich, while also providing strong lane presence, can also counter their opener. So a pretty nice pick coming out here from Thunder. It also gives them team fights and a way to just stack an extra disable, I guess, with Sinister Gaze. I mean, it's not the best part of the hero's kit, but it does do something as well.
You know what would be really nice right here? And we've not seen this that much during this tournament, and I don't think Thunder's even picked it, but Grimstroke plus Lich right now, you got the Grim plus Tiny combo. Grim Dawn in lane would be really strong. You double the Chain Frost. I know it's a little weird, but just in case they pick it out.
You could end up with the same problem that EG had, where you have like if things don't go too well at the early game, you would end up with 2 5s. Like, it's still a possibility because Tiny does checks a lot of boxes. It fixes the draft where you have a low cooldown stun, so could be potentially good. Yeah.
This EG pick now makes my thought just goes immediately to they're gonna pick a Clockwork or something like that here, because Razor Marcy, like, how can you not lane these heroes together? It's just the most, other than Viper Marcy, it's the most devastating lane.
There it is.
We did mention, it makes a lot of sense. And now you have like 2 strong lanes, something that we did mention before this series started, where they do have like 2 heroes on the side lanes, and also this time around Nightfall will be able to scale on his Razor. Like last time he was playing Tidehunter, so a bit difficult, and like what Nightfall does with his hero is like he tends to take over the game, like be on top of the network but still use his network very efficiently.
Yeah, and I like the Smurf lane coming out from Thunder. It's just such a typical thing to pick versus Razor. Back when Razor was a monster, you can just replicate,
you steal him.
You become the static link. The damage is negligible, but also it's a carry that isn't scared of dying to a Clockwork gank early on, right? Just because it can waveform out. Also, when you put it on the safe lane versus the Razor off lane, it's a way to break the link early on, right? So it's not just how this hero counters it with its ulti, but how it can put some distance between it early on. That coupled with the Frost armor, I do think that regardless of Marcy and Razor being an incredibly strong lane, Thunder have a good way to deal with it.
I think that lane actually, that's a strong lane.
EG doesn't have much control for this Morphling. They don't have a single silence, so we see that Thunder Awakened, they are protecting Morphling with this Ancient Apparition pick that could have been mid. So yeah, any kind of silence It's a good puck game.
Also a Storm game.
Yeah.
Pucker Storm looked. Oh, Storm stormed out.
I wonder if maybe EG looks to flex the SF for the first time and put the SF mid, and then, well, then again, it's against Tiny, which you can die to Tiny. But then they could pick like a Void. Pango, okay.
So that does give them that nice lockdown that they lacked. We saw how effective it was last game, but also it is a pretty good hero at dealing with Morphling early on before it gets 6-slotted, right? It builds Diffusal Blade, it can rotate early on with the runes, and there is synergy in having these two incredibly skirmish-heavy supports like Marcy and Clock and something like a Pango that can always go with them.
Yeah, EG does not lack stuns in this game. Last game it was some long cooldown stun problem, not an issue anymore.
I did mention puck for EG, but it also looks good for Thunder Awaken. Unless, maybe they could still flex this Tiny, right?
They could, yeah. I could definitely see them doing a Dawn Tiny lane. That sounds right up Thunder's alley.
What I don't like about the 4 Tiny here, though, is I don't think it'll be put in situations when it has a Morphling that needs a while to farm where it can get that Blink Dagger early, because the way that Tinies are played is that they fight for it.
If they want to go with position 4, I like Snapfire a lot. Gives them a lot of team fight as well. It gets you away from the cogs, but okay, Lion.
Okay, so actually they have played this Lion plus Dawnbreaker lane before. It's really, really good at killing heroes early on. You've got 2 disables with Dawn's ability to gap close and just burst damage later on. But also, if you are able to secure some vision around a cliff or something and you see this Pango, the Lion can hex it. And if you kill this Pango, that takes away EG's win condition in the fights, right? If you can just find him, make sure he doesn't do that damage, and it looks like a pretty solid pick for Thunder.
All right, what do you think, Jenkins, of the final 10 that we got?
This is a pretty free Morphling game. That's what I'm thinking. And this hero was the scourge of the last chance qualifiers.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's been adequately figured out by now. I have faith in Pakaz's Morphling.
Yeah, they don't have a single silence to deal with this Morphling. And also, this is going to be Tiny on the mid lane.
Yeah.
So Dark Mago, Tiny, probably his best hero besides Kunkka. So you got to be very careful. It's going to be a completely different game what happened in the previous one, where this Tiny, very slowly getting into the game. Tiny's an explosive hero. He can easily take over the game.
But also, it's just the Dark Mago specialty to play Tiny versus these ranged Agi carries and just toss them into the team and just wreak havoc. So I do think this SF is in danger. Contrary to last game, we are now looking at this Pango and this Marcy. How much can they do for their team early on? Can they shut down this Morphling? Because if not, it looks like a free Morph game.
Well, if EG get what they want, it sounds like they should be getting an action-packed game. And I know 2 people who like action-packed games. It's ODPixel and Fog.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, we're ready here in Singapore for Game 2 of Evil Geniuses versus Thunder Awaken. Fog, what do you sort of read from this draft change that we're getting now in this second game? Do you think EG's going to have a bit of a better shot, or is this again one of those situations where at a certain point it could become a little too much for them to deal with? There was a very action-packed Game 1 and little too action-packed for EG to cope with.
I mean, it's Morphling has been a problem a lot of times in this tournament, so it could be one of those games. He does have these matchups, he can turn into the Razor, he can turn into Pango, turn into SF, does have a lot of really good things that he can do as this Morph. Could be a bit scary if it gets to those later stages. EG, I think they want to, do what they've been doing most of the time in this tournament. Set that pace, set that tempo, get a good early advantage, because their draft, it's very strong around some good early timings. They can fight constantly, not really too cooldown reliant. Strong lanes. So let's see how Thunder comes out of these lanes this time, because I do think this time it should be a little bit more difficult.
And of course, Thunder's approach with the draft, the way they close it up, something that they're very flexible with, of course. Dark Margo on the Tiny, this Tiny core support, it's going to be fantastic from Thunder Awaken. They do it very, very well in both positions, and allows them to end the draft with a Lion. Not something that a lot of other teams will do, but definitely gives that extra bit of threat, that instant catch, instant hex, that for heroes like that, the Pango and the SF could catch them by surprise. And once again, not the biggest amount of sort of defensive capabilities that EG's heroes can offer if they get jumped.
Yeah, not till later on, until when they have like the Marcy Shard, if he perhaps wants to go for something like that, to go for some type of saves. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. I'm really curious how to see this line is going to work. I do like seeing it come up more, especially when you're playing into something like Marcy. Having double disables when you have just a damage dealer as well too is just always amazing. So see what Matthew's going to be able to do with Sacred. Let's see how they actually pair these lanes. Do they actually put Fly with the SF and the Marcy with the Razor? Because that's more than likely what we'd imagine.
The battle begins.
Let's have a look. I mean, we saw, of course, start of last game, I think pretty much up to the 20-minute mark. It's kept very, very close between both teams. When you look at the lane setups this time round, do you think we're going to see a similar story, or is there the potential for someone to get heavily harassed out of the lane early on?
I'm just not sure how this top lane. It's just the Lion has to be really careful to not get caught at level 2 pretty much from the clockwork, because then he just dies immediately. Besides that, I think actually Thunder should be okay. We'll see how they do bottom. Sometimes this can be a little volatile because Marcy just does so much in laning phase. Even though Morph has ways to break Link, you can pull him back in and stuff like that. So we'll see how that first few waves goes, at least for Bakaz.
And what about this mid lane matchup? Dark Margot, Tiny against Starbed's Pango. What do you expect out of this?
Margot should do just fine. Abed should be able to get some decent farm, but I think Margot should come out ahead. He's just so comfortable in these matchups.
Talking about comfortable, you know, Bakaz this game, Morphling. I mean, we saw how well he was able to play on the Bloodseeker in terms of just being able to know perfectly the hero's limits. And if you want to play a hero that you can really push to its full potential and play around those sort of risky situations, Morphling, this is sort of the next step from the Bloodseeker, right? You know, you've got to be prepared to see him, Bakaz, juggling around his HP, his agility to a perfect balance.
Yeah, it really is exactly that, right? Those are the two highest volatility heroes when you're just trying to push the limits this top.
So that's set up for the kill here. Fly with the chase down. Fairy Fire's there from Matthew, but a few more hits of the Battery Assault will get the job done for EG. First blood for Fly.
A little worried about this one. They actually did it before the level 2 even comes out for the Clockwork. They just come in. Almost getting both heroes too. Sacred, thankfully for him, TPs to the tower, but they do force them both away.
And I imagine this time round on the bottom lane, unlikely that we sort of see Nightfall in a dangerous position as he was in the early laning stage in game 1. Is this really a lane where Thunder Awakening can look for kills early, or is it pretty safe for EG?
He should be pretty safe. He just has to be a little bit careful how much he trades when he does have like the Link building up, how much the Lich has, how much distance the Lich has to get like multiple nukes off. So lane positioning is going to be important for EG.
Of course, EG, you can see themselves very much primed and ready to try to get a kill out of this lane themselves.
And we're going to go on Bakaz right away. Yeah, he has the adaptive level 2, so
he's going to take quite a hit on the way out here. Crit trying to block him up, shifting into that strength. So will manage to survive. Has to be careful in this lane. Some sort of misplay here or caught out at low HP. Bakaz could get burst down by these two. They've got great ways of sort of getting that damage in from the distance, whether it's Crit throwing themselves in on top of him or the Plasma Field clipping him at the edge of the circle.
Yeah, until he has that waveform, it can be a bit of a risk versus those double waves to keep him on that link. The top.
Top lane.
Nice
bit of a turnaround. Fly has got the Fairy Fire, drop down the cogs, but Sacred, one more hit's all he needs. He's not going to be able to get it.
Oh, the cogs.
Fly's able to get out, and now Sacred's got to back away. Mango's at the ready. Arteezy beginning to stack up the raises. Thunder have to keep their distance.
They are struggling up here, though. 9 last hits on Sacred. Sure, you see the 9 last hits on the Razor as well, too, but he's just constantly sitting like half or below that on the HP. This Clockwork SF lane a lot harder this time around.
Absolutely, a very nice duo to play with in the lane.
Yep.
Fly just being able to charge and get on top of a hero with the Battery Assault and just providing that control for Arteezy to line up the razors.
And this is actually a pretty big thing to actually talk about here. So on the retreat there, Fly going back to base gets a half pull. So what this is going to allow is now the wave is going to go back into the tower for the Shadow Fiend. So actually a pretty impactful play coming out from that clock.
A little something extra.
See bottom lane. Despite sort of the harassment that EG are applying to Bakaz, he's still farming safe. 17-7 against Nightfall's 13-5.
Look at not even going for the waveform, not even a 3. Just going for 2 points in adaptive.
That's confident.
It's cool too, because now they do have burst damage where maybe Nightfall can die.
That's
now
true.
It's a lot of magic damage.
Very much so. They've got good follow-up as well from Panda. So the ability to sort of just be able to slow down EG if they're ever trying to chase this morph, giving Bakaz the space to just simply walk back under the safety of his tower. To top lane.
Sacred.
Setting up onto Sacred here for Cogs.
Okay.
Stage the raises, even if they stack up, not quite enough to burst through the high HP of the Dawnbreaker.
Nightfall, they're literally just burning the raindrops. Bottom lane, Nightfall just got his delivered pretty much. It's down to 2 already. They're just constantly spamming him out, making sure they can potentially go for that type of kill if they do go for an overcommitment with the Link. Yeah, because he's chilling down here.
And it's really causing this sort of state of the lane where EG not really able to put as much pressure onto the Picard's morph in this early stages as maybe as much as they thought they might be able to get away with.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to maybe get at least one type of catch onto maybe the Lich or something like that to enable the Razor to shut down this morph a bit. But yeah, because Falcon Blade's done, he's going to continue just free farming. We haven't got a chance to look at the mid lane much. Does now, of course, Waveform is picked up at 4. And
Time round,
Panda.
They should get Panda here with the rebounds done. Oh, it's actually still got the Fairy Fire. In fact, with that, he will manage to get out alive. Salva the ready as well. Panda able to stick around. Still got 2 mangoes to play with. Top lane, set him on to fly with the stun and the hex.
He got the battery salt off, though.
He's able to put a stop there for the Starbreaker of Sacred. Fly to the high ground in time. Last hit, not enough to take him out. And now Arteezy, he might be able to line up some kills himself. Looks towards the Dawn. Sacred might look for a neutral deny, and he's not going to get it. Arteezy able to get the last hit in time. Gets the kill before the deny can be found.
Little bit of a slip up there, Thunder. They don't get the chain stun to not allow that battery assault. If he doesn't get battery assault, they probably get the kill on the clock, but does get that little mini stun to stop the Starbreaker. Runes being checked. This first time we actually put any emphasis on mid lane. It's pretty much even.
And pretty much, yeah. 35-5 against the 32-6. Arbed is going to be very happy with that Arcane Rune. They've got to be extremely careful on the side lanes as well now, Thunder Awaken.
Absolutely.
High chance that there could be a Pango turning up and looking to fight.
Yeah, and let's see if they put any emphasis to slow down Abed, because let's see what build it's going to be. I think we imagine it's going to be that Diffusal, but he's got the Corrosion done, and that could be one of those things that could cause some problems for the Morphling.
That's true, it's an excellent Diffusal game across the board.
Yeah, even versus the Dawn and everything, right? These
Low
strength
HP.
floors, strength, low mana, etc.
Low mana.
Yep. Pretty big.
Mid
So,
lane.
yeah, we do see a move already just to fill up for the bottle since he didn't get the rune. And, oh, I say that. He actually did not get the fill up. He did not have an inventory slot. Whoopsie.
Fortunate that he's at least full HP, but probably not the best of situations there for Dark Margot.
It happens. Yeah, still farming just fine. Phase Boot's done. Has stacks to work with, too. We see Panda backing up and getting some stacks. But right now, 2-0.
Going to try for a play here between the two of them.
I like this.
Smoke up from the mid, they're going to head straight towards the top lane. Not before EG's already there themselves, though. Both supports flying crit, ready to start setting up the play. Sacred will get the hammer out. Able to pull himself away, but Arteezy closing in upon him.
Back up.
He's coming in, and now Dark Margot with the 2-man avalanche. He's going to look for the toss back, finds it onto crit. Stun now from Matthew onto Arteezy. They're able to lock down the SF, take out 2. Maybe even more hit. Panda still has the slow hit, applied to Fly, but backups in terms of Arbed. Arbed, see if he can get some kills in return off the back of this Rolling Thunder. Good angle onto Panda, but there's 4 heroes here, and Arbed cannot try and pressure for more. He has to back away, not able to turn around this fight and find anything in return there.
I love Thunder, how they play around the understanding of, SF, it's a weak hero in the early game. It's very fragile, so able to punish it nice and early.
She could actually jump in aggressively around the power rune spawn. Will end up being down bottom, DD. See if they can burst through crit. For this, they certainly can. Toss back into the stun. Thunder gonna take another kill around the river.
And how many times has he tipped crit already in this series? Oh man, great rotations though, as we saw. Just knowing exactly how to punish this Shadow Fiend, very squishy early, good moves. And now Sacred, even getting a good connection under the tower.
Fair bit of damage onto Arteezy here.
Yeah.
He'll be fine though. Does have a few 1 charges, good to go as well. So he'll still remain safe on this top lane.
But the fact that they're making these moves, forcing reactions, making crit even go top. Look at Pakaz, he's got the free lane, the free farm, with no attention put onto him now. Panda.
He's going to go for the TP out, but the damage from Nightfall underneath his ultimate, far too much for Panda to TP out from.
Cute little attempt though, he cut the tree, got in the fog for like a quick second there, but yeah, not quite able to survive.
3-3. EG with a slight gold lead overall. And 9 minutes in. Preparations are being made here in the triangle of Thunder Awaken. Stacks will begin.
Yeah, they're going to work on those now, it looks like. Perhaps Smago. Going to be nicely enabled from these stacks, honestly. The phase boots this early done with the blink's going to be done probably within the next like 3-4 minutes too. And that's going to apply tons of pressure. These squishy heroes, I look at all of the heroes on the side of EG. The 3 cores, all agi cores. So strength gain kind of minimal. So could definitely see Dark Mago have a pretty explosive game.
Absolutely. And especially when you consider the lineup that he has around him, right? Everybody's got a fair bit of damage to throw into the combo.
It feels like that's just the Thunder style, right? We saw last game tons of nukes on every single hero. This time it's very similar. Not bad.
Just gonna step up.
Got the solar.
Got the Hex into the stun. He's dead.
Oh,
A quick catch there from Thunder as Abed not prepared for that move at all, or maybe feeling that Crit would somehow be able to bail him out, but of course no options were there for Crit to be able to save Abed. Thunder, they'll now step up for more. Fly stepped into the river. They'll pick up both kills. And at the same time, bottom lane, it's actually Pakaz that's draining Nightfall. As with the static link and the adaptive strike, Nightfall
He's so
close to dying here. Not quite.
The mana.
He's going to have Plasma Field in a second. The mana's building up Pakaz.
Oh my god!
It's not enough to kill him yet. He's still trying to push up, but the TPs are coming in. Pakaz, he gave it his best shot. He nearly gets it there, but he won't. EG able to punish him. I mean,
what a play.
He was going to go for that kill in every possible universe there could ever be.
I mean, that's still so nice because Nightfall, like, he actually rebought his raindrop charges earlier, and that's actually the thing that allows him to live because of this overchase. Raindrop protects from that plasma field, all the little things. Pakaz tries to push the limit, gets punished.
I'm sure he'll be telling his team Space Maid here.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
look, mid-tier 1 tower, only taking a fair bit of damage from Thunder Awaken.
Yeah, he's like, Zeus, ult, please. Beautiful. Mago, though, as we said, got that double kill. Probably the most important thing to talk about. That blink's going to be coming out super fast. And yeah, very fragile cores on the side of EG until they start getting some HP items.
It really is the thing. You know, how prepared will EG be to deal with this early Blink Dagger?
Yeah, I mean, Nightfall's going to have to be the one to kind of stand as the frontliner, as this Razor, as we've seen many times. But he's not having the best of games as this off-lane Razor.
Are scanning.
20 seconds and Sacred will be ready to back up any sort of move they make around the map, and
Thunder's
indeed,
ready.
in sync with that, they'll look to make the smoke play.
They've
Look
got
to set
Tinker.
up.
They've got more than enough burst for anybody.
They've got all the ults. I mean, top lane, EG, smart move from them to get aggressive onto Sacred. He's the one that provides the global backup. If they take him out, there's nobody that's able to bail him out.
Nightfall knows. He's like, wait a minute. Nobody reacted top. Oh, God. And he knows he's going down here.
Yeah, they'll throw out the ults. I see Matthew holding back the finger. Wants to make sure that he's got that at the ready. No need to farm unnecessary stacks at this stage. It's a long cooldown level 1. You make sure you have that for the next kill.
They could look to actually make the move again, and Dawnbreaker respawning can TP somewhere and Solar Guardian into the next team fight.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, saving the finger for the next kill. Matthew, he's very ready to go. We'll see, in fact, TPing up towards the top.
He TP'd. Matthew actually TP'd mid. They saw Abed.
Oh, mid, sorry,
quick
yeah.
Second. Oh.
Matthew coming over towards the mid. Sacred he'll be the one to head back top, continue to clear out the waves.
Matthew TP'd pretty much like from the hard camp near the outpost to the mid lane, just really trying to kick up that pressure, have a very quick-paced early game. Even again, just like the last game, after lanes, things are looking
This is
dead.
We'll see if this catches out Sacred again. I mean, once more, EG, they know at this stage you make the moves towards the door. That's the cleanest thing they can do.
Quick reveal.
Mid lane Dark Margot will indeed find the jump onto the Marcy. And again, at the same time, the moves made onto Sacred. TPs will come in this time round, and Sacred able to pull himself back to the safety of the rest of his team with the hammer. EG not successfully able to take down the Dawn this time round.
He's not an easy kill. I mean, look at this Dawn. With the Falcon Blade, with the Bracer, 1600 HP. They have to commit so much. If he just gets the hammer out every time, they don't have that follow-up disable. And now, Matthew, as we said, still holding on to that finger. It feels like he just wants to use it on Arteezy exclusively.
Absolutely, yeah. He's been very controlled with this, and it definitely hurts for EG. They know that threat of the burst will be there. They're going to try for Sacred once again. This time Sacred a little further up than before.
Got the
Managed
hammer.
to get the hammer out, but the cogs are down. Has the backup of Matthew and Panda. Chain Frost is there. Fly, hook shots out. They're taking out Sacred. This time Matthew ready to burst through Fly with that finger. Finish him off. Abed will turn up from the side to make sure they get a second, but Dark is in with a blink, and here's the buyback. Dawnbreaker, Sacred ready to fly over towards the fight and turn this around as it's a double kill for Matthew. Crit tries to run, the tree will chase him. The Sacred ready to dive in underneath this tier 1 tower. Crit trying his best with the Jukes.
Oh,
Not doing a bad job about it at all.
They see him now.
They do indeed. He can only hide there for so long as Thunder take him down. And they'll take out the tier 1. A solid buyback there from Sacred.
Thunder is really on some next level stuff. We saw this in the last game too, just constantly looking for the fights. EG probably was like, oh, we're good, you know? He's dead. He's not coming back. Who buys back in 14 minutes like this? Great play again coming out. Thunder really understanding how to take these fights.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Now, once again, as in game 1, Still overall close between the two teams, and both carries in a very similar spot. Bakaz and Arteezy within a few hundred gold of one another.
But seeing this Morphling having this type of game is definitely some concerns for EG. As the panel mentioned, sure, they've got this Rolling Thunder, they've got the Marcy Stun and stuff, but they don't really have like these silences. Morphling will be able to always survive, probably versus the Burst. And he does have that matchup. I mean, turning into Pango, turning into Razor, he's got a lot of different things that he can do here on this Morph. EG, these next few moments feel like they're pretty crucial. Abed, defusal is done. Let's see if they can actually find a kill here. This could be what allows them to get me.
Oz would be the big one. Very quick with the waveform. Fly not able to catch him with a hook shot in time. Does have Sacred around. On the mana though, will try and swing forward with the Celestial Hammer, and indeed EG, they won't continue to chase. They know it's highly likely that Bakaz has got more backup behind him. As Bakaz able to get away from that smoke, EG not quite able to execute that initiation as they wished for.
No, they're trying to find the moves, but yeah, just as we said, the Morph is going to be a big problem for them to ever try to kill. And now hookshot on cooldown, and that was also the defusal reveal, I believe, for Abed. So Thunder will be well aware of it, and immediately look at them. Like, the smoke is already going. They're in to see an opportunity to go for a kill. They have this ward bottom. Finger not at the ready. Might need one more follow-up. They do have the Solar Guardian if they want to call for it. And Nightfall does show.
Yep, they know he's in it. Dark Margo.
Yeah, there he is.
Able to get him with a jump. And of course, once they get that opening stun, so much follow-up to make sure there's more than enough time to keep them in position, allows Sacred to connect with the ultimate and get whatever pick-off they look for here.
It's so fast the way they're moving. It feels like they're just constantly smoking and just swinging across the map. Just first they were top, now they're bottom within like 2 minutes afterwards. EG trying to get back them, trying to find Bakaz.
So they can get underneath this tower. I mean, they know that there's no Dawnbreaker able to head over and help out Bakaz.
But Panda, he walks in. He did see that ward, it looked like, for a quick second. They're gonna go for him.
See if Thunder want to do anything about this. It will take a bit of time to take Panda down.
He's still
In fact, if they can take him down at all, they can't. Panda able to walk away. Thunder, they'll happily take the fight that EG try and poke for us. Once again, EG attempting to make these moves, but just not quite able to get that catch onto Thunder as they wish for.
Thunder is just, they're reading the map better, honestly. The macro play so far has been perfect. Just like last game too, the wards that they've set up, it seems to just be doing every little thing and just keeping Thunder in a perfect position, not even losing their 5. And we're seeing the skill build from Bakaz. This is, you know, we've seen this so much now from the Morphs. You only need that 2 points in your attribute shift. So he is very scary if he turns up and fights. A ton of burst damage from waveform and from the adaptives early.
I mean, do you imagine if EG wants this BKB's done on Nightfall, will they look to try and force a fight? So top lane Matthew, it's getting gone on, but Bakaz is thinking about maybe trying to find something themselves out of this. Dark Margo's in with a jump, he's able to close the gap on Arteezy, he just burst straight through him! Able to jump straight over towards Artur at the back of the fight, throwing out the tips as well.
That is massive cause for concern. I mean, he's able to just one-shot him. Look how huge his Tiny is.
He's got an Echo Save and the Brigand's Blade. It's so much damage from the combo once he gets on top of them.
And as we said, you know, the EG lineup, it's very fragile. Nightfall, as you mentioned, you know, the BKB, they're going to have to try to force something big with it. Some type of fights, because things, even though it's only a 1k gold lead for Thunder, it feels like it's starting to get quite a lot higher than that.
See here, again, Dark Margo. Able to come in from the river, get the catch onto Abed, toss back into the Hex, the fingers at the ready, Abed gets burst.
They are just, the synergy on this team is insane right now. The toss, every single time, toss back into like a follow-up stun from either the Dawn or the Lion. Yeah, everything going their way. EG, kind of crumbling right now. And it's, even when they have the BKB on Nightfall, I don't know, forcing a full fight might still be difficult. Arteezy's just dead if he walks into a fight, it feels like, so. Maybe for Nightfall, they can go look for some type of expedition with 3 heroes or 4 heroes and leave SF away, but I think going for a full team fight might be a disaster for Arteezy.
Absolutely. He's going to want to have no part of any fight until his own BKB's done, Arteezy. Still a bit of time until that will be out for him.
Thunder, they're starting to feel very comfortable. You know, they made all these early moves. Now they're like, okay, I think we have a pretty damn good advantage right now. Sit back, finish up an item. I think they have the Matthew Blink Dagger also done, so they can even look to make these moves if EG does step out of position pretty easily while they're just farming. And they've got the global threat, so things really looking quite amazing right now for Thunder. And they will actually also have a carrier of that Wraith Pact, as we've seen Sacred do this in most of his games on his Dawn. He's got the Vlads. He's going to be going for that. EG, they do not have that this time around. It's going to be Crit who's trying to opt for it, but it's going to take him a lot longer. So that damage mitigation will cause problems. Cause already a Manta now too.
Abed, very close to having the blink. Should have it ready for the next fight. So a chance for him to maybe get in and get that opening stun. So you're able to walk the river, and look at the pushback onto Sacred. Separated from the rest of the team by the cogs, but Chain Frost is out. Armar goes in with a jump, finds Arteezy in the river. Arteezy not able to get off a single spell as the Shadow Fiend falls. See Nightfall have to just hope for a BKB TP out of it.
Oh, and
no fight to be had. This is around the Roshan Thunder. They can look for this. I mean, we were saying it, Arteezy, there's just no place for him around these points of the map. He cannot turn up like this. He needs the BKB. We've seen every single time. If Dark Margot even catches a whiff of this SF showing up, he's on top of him every single time.
That was like save your buddy syndrome.
Let's see Abed.
Abed?
He's going to try and go for the steal here. Roshan not quite low enough for Abed to finish off himself. He's going to have to go for the TP. He nearly does die during the Rolling Thunder. He'll be able to bail out in time, but not able to find the interruption around the pit that he hoped for. Thunder Awaken, they get the kill, they get the Aegis on Picard.
EG they have to get the SF BKB to have any type of chance. I'm still just astonished that he showed up there. As Nightfall,
bottom,
they're going for him.
They made the jump. They know that the BKB here for Nightfall on cooldown. Finger at the ready. Nightfall, he's got the stick charges, the static links, but there's nowhere to run. Picard finishes him off with the adaptive strike.
18-8. It just feels like all over the place for the last 10 minutes. It's just been Thunder making every single move successfully.
Dire's bottom tower.
EG, now BKB still not finished up.
And look at Thunder, they're ready to go for more. Into the triangle here, Crit. Tries to turn us down his ground with the ultimate. Won't be able to get him with the stun for the rebound. Matthew able to line up the two-man stun here. Return, catches both supports out. 2 more dead on EG.
There's Sacred just runs in. Frost Shield drops Wraith Pact. He's good to go. EG fully crumbling right now. Thunder just taking advantage of every single one of these moves. And still looking to play aggressive. Look at Mago chilling in the enemy jungle. Pakaz on the bottom side. There's nowhere for EG to go.
It's so difficult for EG in this sort of position. I mean, this is the thing as well. Even when the BKB's done for Arteezy, with the kind of lineup that Thunder have and the way that they play, you've got to be so ready to press it, right? There's so many ways to bait it out or indeed just catch him before he even gets a chance to react.
Yeah, there's a very high chance he won't even get off. And even if he does get it off, now at this point, do they even have damage? Is their lineup actually going to be able to do anything with these BKBs? Or are they just going to use these BKBs to stall out a long inevitable death?
There we go. The BKB is there for Arteezy, but the same to be said for Dark Margot. He's going to have even less fear if that's even possible.
He's just in.
He is. So with the jump, Nightfall immediately pops the BKB. They're just terrified of EG. There's the jump back you. He's able to find the Hex onto Arteezy. The stun follow-up. A perfect jump there from Thunder. Causes the death of Artur behind the tier 2s. Once again, Thunder's favorite place to fight. As Crypt falls, 3 dead on EG. They're ready to go past the tier 4. Dark Margot in with the avalanche. 4 dead on Evil Geniuses. As it's just too much for them, Fog.
They are just feeling themselves fully. Last 13 minutes, it's all theirs. Even since the last game, it's been all theirs too. EG, it's starting to feel like they don't really have much gas left.
I mean, Thunder, they're going to keep this going. They've still got over 2 minutes left on the Aegis here for Picard.
I mean, look at this. Like you said, they see Arteezy, they just immediately jump him.
I mean, watch Matthew.
See you later.
He knows that's all he needs to do at this stage. He gets that opening Hex. And suddenly, there's no way, nothing that EG can do to provide any sort of time or safety to allow Arteezy to live through that initial disable and get his BKB off. He's just not going to get the chance.
Yeah, 9k lead versus this Morphling who nearly has the Ags done. Like you said, they've got the blink, they've got the BKBs, but it feels like they've really lost too much.
I mean, this is the only way that EG can take fights. Even with having the BKB, they have to do it off the back of the smoke. They cannot be the ones getting jumped, because we've seen every single team fight where Thunder's able to have some sort of information. They'll always find the opening that they need.
But do they have the damage now at this point with this when they're this far behind? There's a Solar Guardian that's going to come in.
Get the opening roll in Thunder. See the ult coming in from Sacred. They didn't have enough damage. Dark Margot only gets burst down to half HP. He's ready to put the BKB turn. Take down Crit. Hookshot there from Fly, but the heavy hits here from Thunder. Take him down as well. Stun, Hex, lockdown onto Arbeck. 3 dead on EG.
They want more.
And Nightfall, he's up on the cliff. He'll opt for a TP out. Same to be said for Arteezy, as the 2 cores will manage to escape here with a BKB TP. But again, they're just having to run. They're just having to back away And this is not what they needed to be happening once they had these BKBs come out. They just came a little too late, and a few too many fights taken beforehand that just put EG too far behind. It seems impossible now for them to take any sort of fight against Thunder.
Yeah, that was them. Like, I think they were trying to take advantage of that Sacred was dead. Maybe they can burst a hero, but he respawned right when they get the jump, has the Solar Guardian, and yeah, Dark Mago's BKB comes up like 1 second afterwards. He gets it off. Thunder just, playing to perfection, really.
Extra agi and attack speed he's able to take with the axe. Just tearing through the buildings. Nothing that EG can do to push him back here.
You know how they're feeling right now on the side of EG. They're just like, wow, yeah, I don't know if we can ever take another fight. They're going to have to hope that Thunder really just oversteps their bounds and kind of throws this one away, because it's feeling completely impossible to ever kill this Morph, or pretty much anyone but Sacred, any of those cores except for that Dawnbreaker.
Car's just so far ahead. It's same to be said for Dark Margo. Both of these cores easily 5k gold ahead of their counterparts at this stage, this early stage as well, just 25 minutes in. And sort of a period of the game that, in terms of the group stage performances, EG, they've been reveling in the earlier wins. But Thunder very much showing that they have the ability to shut down EG so early that EG just can't get that footing, can't get that momentum that's enabled them to pop off as they have been in the group stage.
And EG did get the first blood that they've been like looking for, I think. I know in this game, I don't remember in the last one.
Bottom Matthew. He's going to get the two-man setup here. Next is going to follow up on Nightfall. Sacred, pretty beefy, and with the finger burst onto Fly. He's going to get taken out. Arbed does off to the side again. Nightfall and Arteezy, all they can do with their BKBs is BKB and TP out. They cannot fight them.
No damage. Now they can't even kill Sacred at this point. They've gotten him in the first few of one of those fights, but yeah, he just drops the raid pack. There's no damage.
In terms of sort of fights that they can put together around the defensive on the high ground, do you sort of see any play that EG can try and go for in terms of punishing Thunder when they go for the high ground? Matthew,
he showed himself.
They know he's in the trees somewhere. Matthew's going to go for the blind stun.
They're still just going to chase him.
Jukes are there from Arteezy, but Matthew, he'll still be able to chase him out. Hex is there. They're on top of him with the combo. Tips once again being thrown the way of Arteezy. Godlike for Pakaz.
And to answer the question of the comeback on the high ground, they don't have the team with the tiny. They don't have these toss-back plays or anything. It's looking quite impossible. On to the next Rax. It's going to drop in seconds.
30 seconds without Arteezy.
39.
Looks to matter too much considering the state of the last few fights we've had. He has the buyback back up.
And they just have to watch, even with Arteezy.
Ooh, quick blink there. Arbed will be able to avoid the catch of Dark Margo this time round. But the top racks, it's gone.
They're just too far ahead now. No fights really, it feels like. EG, you said they got to just hope the Thunder oversteps massively, even a couple times, because 1 or 2 times won't do it. Maybe 3 throws or something, but yeah, Thunder. Phenomenal play. All game, it's just been relentless aggression.
Now for Thunder Awaken, they can look towards that bottom lane. Push forward towards that final tier 2 standing.
Yeah, they don't
side of the map.
They don't have to really go much of anywhere else now. I think the Scotty's about to be finished for Pakaz as well too. He's 2-3 items ahead of his counterpart. And all of EG. It feels like they haven't even hit a creep in these last, what, 5 minutes or something.
Definitely feels like they're running out of fallback plans to be able to sort of rectify the state of this game.
Arteezy can't even finish getting souls. He just has to sit in the tree lines with his team. Because even if he shows himself, he might just die immediately. Look at Matthew. Immediately whips himself. He's like, let's go.
With the scan EG, so they know that Thunder Awaken's there, but not really too much they can do with that info apart from continue to stay hidden in the tree line.
Matthew knows. He's in.
Oh, he's in with the jump! Straight away they're with the Hex. They burst through Fly. Nightfall puts the BKB in time. Tries to come in with a static link, but Pakaz is there. Heads in with a wavefall. Takes out Nightfall immediately. Sacred committing in deep. Starbreakers to land onto Arteezy. Arteezy will put the BKB. Arbed's in with the stun. On top of the Dawnbreaker, but the finger burst. The Hex is there. They lock down Arteezy. The SF will fall. Arbed, the only one to get out.
GG.
As there it is. GG is called. Wow. Thunder Awaken. Turn up here in the third series of the playoffs here at the International level to take down EG 2-0, knocking them down to the lower bracket. And This was a pretty severe knockdown, Fog.
Yeah. First game was close, very even through the majority of it. This one, Thunder came to play. They knew exactly what EG was going to do, and they did give EG that Shadow Fiend.
They did.
Still able to just defeat it with ease.
Absolutely, the preparation very much showing from Thunder Awaken coming into this series. 100% win rate on that SF EG had before today from the group stage results alone, and Thunder Awaken, they deal with it twice. First game, a very well played second half. This second game is from start to finish, really. Yes. It felt like that the options for EG, they were just running out with every single minute that passed.
And we have to give a huge congrats to Thunder Awaken, because that's top 6 guaranteed now for them. Massive.
And if they continue to play like this, I don't think there's going to be any sort of question on how far this team can go. Once again, just continuing to look better and better throughout their group stage, and now turning up on the main stage, opening up with a performance like that. They've got to be feeling over the moon. Can't wait to see more from them. Of course, we'll see EG down in the lower bracket. But as it stands, Thunder Awaken, they'll be the ones to move up in this upper bracket, taking down EG 2-0.
Thank you very much, ODPixel and Fogged. Indeed, Thunder Awaken, top 6 guaranteed, the first ever of their region to do so. Massive congrats are indeed in place. We're going to break down this game, which was straight fighting from the get-go. It felt like this was a brawl, Jenkins.
Yeah, so I mean, I have this theory that's maybe it's a bit off the wall, but I feel like it is kind of reasonable. Maybe you guys can tell me if it's stupid or not. But like,
it's stupid.
It's stupid. Okay, move on.
All right, moving on. Effie, what do you?
No, go ahead.
Thank you, Effie. I appreciate it. I think at TI, there's just obviously this immense amount of pressure for players. And I think when under pressure, people seek comfort in their teammates.
Yeah.
And I think in Dota, the way that you feel that comfort is through positioning. And so because of that, team fighting becomes very strong at TI. Maybe Earthshaker's not so good in this meta, but Enigma is the top hero that we've been talking about. And what have we been saying about Thunder Predator all year? They're the team fighting team. Thunder Awaken. Everybody talks about how Thunder Awaken in SA is all about optimizing team fights. So this doesn't come as a shock in that respect.
For sure, I like that you said that, because not just the game that we saw right now, but the previous one before it, they outfought EG at every moment. And I really wanted to highlight the play coming up from the support duo of Thunder Awaken in this game. It really felt like that Lich and Lion popped off completely. Like in any other team's hands, a Lich and Lion support duo may have looked slow, may have looked weak, may have gimped them a little bit, but no, they were just out skirmishing a team with Clockwork Marcy supports. That is just so insane to me.
After watching these two games, I feel like EG fell into a trap that Thunder Awaken knew exactly what EG is going to go for. Like, we did manage to protect some of the picks, and you know, if we can do it, these smart professional e-gamers, they can do it as well. And it felt really bad for EG in game 2. Also, I think Shadow Fiend might become like a new meme for EG besides the Storm Spirit, because so far they picked it 9 times already. It was like it was working out until now, but seems like it got figured out. I also want to point out Dark Mago's Tiny. This is his best hero without a doubt, and how they managed to get him into the game is getting some big stacks in the triangle, if we can call it even a triangle right now.
Yeah, we can.
We can, okay.
Yeah,
and also the blink reveal, something that they did in the previous game with the Pango. This time around, also picking up a blink dagger on Tiny and then doing big things after, getting a lot of kills.
But not just that, to me it really felt like Thunder won the draft the second that Morphling came out, and then they were stuck with this SF Marcy Razor, where Razor, a hero who has been nerfed many, many times, patch over patch, you pick him to win the lane. And if you put him in a situation where he's not winning the lane, he really can't do that much fast enough for his team. So I really think that this Morphling/Lich safe lane that came out of Thunder was genius, and it put EG in such an uncomfortable position.
Yeah, a lot of games during the group stage, we saw EG having a great game where obviously they got their hands on the Broodmother a lot. Banned first, and it did feel like Nightfall was a little bit lost on the offlane in this one, also because it was very much countered indeed by the side of Thunder Awaken. And Thunder Awaken, they do take this victory. It is Pandaboo that is going to talk about that with Casey right now.
Pandaboo, congratulations! Oh, look at this man! Look at this man!
Míralo, míralo. No puedo, estoy muy feliz. He's too happy, he's too happy.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so what was the moment? I have to tell you, when we were watching behind the scenes, after the draft finished, we went, Thunder has it. Did you feel the same way? What was your impression after the draft?
Nos han dejado todo, es una falta de respeto. Tenemos Pacas Morphling, Antonio Altini, Matthew, ya Matthew no importa. Saturday contra Breaker, ya ganamos.
He says they gave us everything. It's a complete lack of respect towards us. They gave us Morphling Pacas. They had Tony Pepperoni, Antonio Altini, no sé, Anthony the Tiny, he said. Matthew can play whatever, doesn't matter. Sacred had Dawnbreaker.
My God, you are radiating joy. It's like contagious. How do you say contagious? ¿Cómo se dice contagious in español?
Contagioso.
Contagioso. I knew that. Yes. Okay. Well, we're gonna send it back, but really quickly, Secret or PSG LGD? Who do you want to face next?
PSG.
PSG.
There you have it. All right. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Congratulations, Felicidades. Back to you guys.
Oh, I love the energy of that man for sure. Love the shaven head as well. And of course, Thunder Awaken moving forward in the upper bracket. They're going to have an opponent later down the line. This will be decided by our next series. And for that, let's welcome PSG LTD.
PSG LGD.
And here they are. They are your grand finalists of TI10, and they are looking to repeat, but this time the championship. As a result, of course, they have a road to go here in this upper bracket. PSG LGD, their first opponent will be none other than Team Secret.
Secret.
It is Team Secret in the upper bracket. This team has had quite a rough year with one of the longest routes you can imagine to get to this stage via the last chance qualifiers. Of course, at the helm, it is Poppy. This is his 11th international. Incredibly impressive result. And of course, he would love to finish, or not even finish. He would love to have another win to his name. We can talk about that a little bit, because if you look at the most recent, well, if you look at the results that Poppy has had over the last years, Lacoste, I believe he should be getting second this year.
Yeah, every single year it keeps getting better for Poppy. He's getting closer and closer. Last TI, he got the 3rd place, and yeah, considering how they're playing
before
right now.
Before that 4th,
yeah,
before the top 6.
I feel like this could be the year. I mean, this Poppy guy, he's pretty good at Dota.
This Poppy guy, I mean, it feels like TI is his home. It really just seems like this is the stage that brings out his best gameplay, and by doing that, his teammates as well. Resolution and Zayats, we've praised them time and time again, but they have really stepped up and glued this team together. I'm really excited how they're going to match up versus the unanimous favorite to win the entire tournament, PSG LGD.
Last time they met, PSG LGD did lose to them at Riyadh Masters, because it was the reveal of new Secret roster, and people had doubts, because considering how the previous roster didn't work out, and then you bring in new people. Usually it does take time. This is the definition of when we speak about Dota chemistry between the players, is what Zayats and Resolution are bringing to the offlane. Like, you just feel that they are naturally good together.
Yeah, I really like what Puppy talked about, how like there's the language, not like barrier in this case, but like language bridge almost, you want to call it, because like in the laning stage, Resolution and Zayats can speak in a different language than the other lane that is being played, and it kind of like separates the comms in that way. And there's like, if you take any teams and you put them in lane practice and they're just sitting in voice together with just the lanes, they perform like 150% better in the lanes, because all you're focusing on is that. And that's what they get to do in-game, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool point that you bring up, because often comms can get very diluted. There can be a lot of talking going on, and it may get a little bit confusing, but just by having that language in common, it makes it easier. But also, outside of that, Rezo and Zayats have been playing together forever. I remember when Rezo tweeted out the best offlane duo in the world looking for a team, and people were like, huh, aren't you on vacation? But they get picked up by potentially the best team that you want to pick you up at that stage, the team that has the likeliest chance to actually qualify for TI outside of the DPC system, and it happens. It all worked for them.
It really did. Of course, a new addition is also Chrysalis. I gotta imagine, it's been since 2014 that Sing Sing was on the stage at the International. It's about time that we have more Dutch players coming in, so a nice one there for sure. Their opponents, though, they have... Team Secret came second in their group, which means they do not have the luxury of choosing their opponents, which means they got left with PSG LGD. Tundra picked OG to face instead. It's a tough opponent. This team
nobody wants to play against this team. Nobody does. Except for Thunder. Except for Thunder.
I mean, that's why Thunder's doing so well, because they want to prove everybody that they're the best. If we can beat PSG LGD, we can beat anybody. And I mean, the reason why PSG LGD is so strong is they play variety of the heroes. You don't know, it's very difficult to guess what they're gonna go for in terms of counter picking. They're one of the best teams out there. And one more thing to notice is we just have to enjoy seeing Ame and Fatebian play, because they're one of the greatest players that ever touched the game, and they could potentially retire. That's what they said. You never know with Dota players, but enjoy.
So Fatebian for sure is retiring based on the video that he posted on Chinese social media. There have been rumors that Ame wants to take this win and just not touch Dota for a very long time. Now that one could still be up.
That's fair. That's fair.
That one could still be up in the air, but come on. For me personally, this is LGD's year. They have come so close so many times. Last year had to be painful, and they've also got the retirement story just like Liquid. I mean, they have to be itching for this win more so than any other team in this tournament.
Yeah, and they have also had good results this year. Of course, they came first in the tour for 2 tours in a row. They did well in the regional finals for both of those tours as well. Arlington Major, they came second, losing to T-Spirit in the grand finals. Maybe a little bit painful memories.
The crazy thing is, against Spirit outside of grand finals, they're 14-3 versus Spirit. But then when it comes to grand finals, they're 17-9 or something like that. So it's Team Spirit loses unless it's grand finals, where LGD seems to not be able to just push it a little bit farther.
But you know what? I think LGD has a bit of an edge this year, because I think that loss to Spirit and Arlington really humbled them and taught them a valuable lesson, because up until that point, it really felt like Spirit, it felt like LGD were so confident in the ideas that they have that when they do lose, it kind of shakes them, right? Sometimes they'll get stubborn and pick a hero twice in a row, even when it's not good. And getting that experience losing so early on in the year is going to be even better for TI. I mean, we saw them kind of suck day one of group stage and then just bring it back completely. So just being able to recover mentally is a very, very good sign for LGD fans at home.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind as well is that for PSG LGD, they might not have had a lot of experience this year in LAN settings, because there was just no opportunity for them to. But this team is no stranger to playing on LAN, so any kind of stage jitters you can imagine, they don't have them. They have played under the biggest of pressures, of course, in that finals. If they want to do that again, they need to start in this upper bracket and just win a couple of games. Let's see if they can do that with the first one. It's over to game 1.
PSG LGD versus Team Secret. Game 1.
It's nitty-gritty Dota time. That's right, the draft will shortly be upon us. It's time to talk Dota now. We just came out of a series where we had so many kills. It was so action-packed. Lacoste, are you feeling that this is going to be the style of Dota we're going to see all day, or is it these two teams creating a different style?
I think it's going to be pretty much the same story, where it's going to be heavily lane-focused, a lot of aggression early on. You want to get that first Roshan, keep the advantage, as we've seen in the previous game, where they just smoke, take the fight near the Roshan, and then go for an extra objective after that. Makes the game a lot easier. Both of these teams, they know how to play aggressive. They know how to play with the advantage. They also know how to play from behind. So it's just going to be a great Dota. I feel like it.
I do think that this series will go a little bit slower, but I mostly agree with everything that Lacoste said. I do think that main stage meta shifts a little bit compared to group stage, though, where you can see a lot of fighting, a lot of heroes becoming popular, but when you're actually on that stage and the nerves are hitting you, you do tend to go for comfort and potentially more textbook type of plays. So I do expect LGD to not take any risks when it comes to this game one.
All right, well, here we are. We got a first phase ban. Chen, respect on Puppy there, who I believe has just broken a record during the group stages with the hero-player combination of Chen.
She has.
Yeah, it's maddening how many games he's played on that hero. And Marcy on the side of bans. And it's, okay, PSG LGD is like, Puppy, you know what? None of that, please.
Yeah, those are. Enigma still in the pool. That's the big hero, I think. Both of these teams are looking at.
It's gonna be a no-brainer.
Yeah, first.
And I mean, it's Secret Silencer. Like,
you got a Silencer.
He has to. Like,
otherwise, you're gonna get Silencer Enigma'd.
Yes.
And then that's a really tough combo.
I remember one game from the group stage where Puppy played Silencer and he did go for 2 knockdowns. Like, he's really
of course
has a game of chance.
Yeah.
Like, he tends to break the game with his builds as well. Extremely greedy position 5 player, but he does make it work.
So an interesting thing that Thunder did versus Enigma in the first phase was just try to counter it with a gyro pick, and it worked out so well for them. They didn't have a silencer, they didn't have some niche jump on him hero. They just went for a carry that could outlane him and then outfight him on his timings.
Sniper works too for a similar, well, you don't have to stop the black hole, you just peep him from outside of the black hole radius.
But, I mean, in a way, Nyx is pretty cool for that too early on. Before Enigma gets his BKB, you can just turn on your Carapace and walk into the black hole and just have an easy way to cancel it.
This feels like an age-old combo between these two. Like the Nyx and Leshrac. If you just have a list of all the things that Leshrac wants and that he doesn't do, Nyx Assassin provides that. And if you look at the list of the things that Nyx wants and that Leshrac does all of that. It's like if you hero to scout, you take towers. Nyx doesn't want to sit in lanes and farm creeps. Leshrac consumes all the creeps on the map. They pair perfectly.
But not just that, Nyx is a hero that does like to play around the mid lane as a position 4, right? He wants to secure runes. He needs a hero that can do the kind of damage that he doesn't offer. And Leshrac is one of the best heroes where you have a roaming 4. Because if you make a really good rotation around that 5-minute siege creep or that 10-minute one, that's just an easy tower and easy access into the enemy's map. So I do like this Nyx a lot.
Yeah, it's also a flexible pick for Team Secret, this Leshrac, because it has been played on the offlane as well. And like these 2 heroes with double stuns, you're always going to have a kill potential. And being able to kill Pango even with the Diabolic Edict, something that Pango doesn't really like to play into, is he gets on top of Leshrac. Usually if there's no BKB piercing ability, like you might get a fake picture of how much damage you're taking from this Leshrac. Like if you connect onto a hero and while Edict is running, you might just die.
And speaking of heroes that went untouched, the SF still in the pool.
Yeah.
I do think that's something that Secret could be looking at, and even potentially LGD. This is just such a high value pick, and the fact that it made it through the first phase entirely is really interesting to me. It just shows how much these teams have prepared for each other and value individual and niche picks more so than the popular ones.
I do wonder, like speaking of popular picks, like were they watching that series and they have a different picture of SF now? It's like if we pick this, it looks like Thunder has figured it out. If we pick it, is LGD or Secret, will they take that the counter into their draft after watching that? Like,
also looking at the bans, they did ban Lifestealer, which is a bit of a unusual ban in the second stage, and something that you mentioned, like Gyrocopter, he does work well against the Enigma and the Eidolons. So if they're looking for Gyro, now this Lifestealer ban does make sense.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm really feeling the sniper for Secret. It's like, I mean, there are more heroes that LGD could pick where it becomes kind of like you have to punish it with the sniper because they have so many heroes that just like don't get on top of him. But already against these 2 heroes, I don't feel like Pango's really that great. He's not like a traditional backline jumper. Like, yeah, he can get on the backline, but you can peep him and kill him through his role. right? It's not like a Storm Spirit who actually assassinates the backline. He just disrupts them. I don't think Sniper really cares that much, but we'll see. We'll see.
The thing about Sniper, though, is the Sniper player on Secret has always been Nisha. I don't think I've seen Crystals play it once, and unless they're flexing the Slush Rock to carry Entity style or offlane Baseka style, which I also haven't seen Secret do.
They offlane
Lesh.
Yeah, they offlane Lesh.
He goes the same build, too, as the mid-Lesh, just Rush Bloodstone.
So then I think you're onto something potentially if they flex the Slush to offlane. I also think TA is a hero that you can look at versus both Enigma and Pango.
Yeah, so far, Team Secret has played Sniper 3 times, all in the hands of Nisha, all wins as well. That being said, I mean, they won a lot during the group stage, so I'm not sure how much that is because...
I totally forgot that even got through. That's insane.
Of course.
That actually made it through the second phase of bans.
Yeah.
Great against Pango, too, because, you know, when he's going in with the roll, it's like, you know, that's when LGD wants to commit with everything else. So even barring the black hole, it's still a, you know, good, decent silencer game.
Also still in the pool, the SF that we've talked about.
Yeah,
I wonder
true.
if it's something LGD is going to pick up here or just give it away to Secret in the next phase.
It does synergize nicely with all the minus armor from Pango, SF, Eidolon deal more damage.
Tusk.
Now it's going to be Tusk.
Team Secrets.
That's a bit of a backline jump for a Sniper or an SF. Like, I feel like you're less inclined to pick it unless you just think that it's really overpowered.
So I actually expected them to just secure their safe lane in this phase on the side of LGD, but they're just gonna leave it for last. They go for the Dazzle and the Tusk. I think Tusk is a really good hero for annoying the Silencer early on, right? Silencer is a good hero to counter Enigma, but when you have these nuisance type heroes like Tusk and Pango that can just go on him early on and set up for a good black hole, it really makes Enigma's life easier. So I do like this Tusk concept here.
Also in the
still like the SF.
Yeah, just the shards plus Eidolons. Silencer does love to play aggressive, get the glaives. Puppy, one of the few players that actually get glaives early on. Like, you know, he wants to steal
in. You gotta do it.
I mean, I've seen Silencers go in the group stage 0-4-0.
I can't.
I can't as well, but
tempting.
It is
like,
what it is.
Gotta get that in.
Also on the PSG LGD side, double save. You have this Dazzle plus the Snowball, Shield Crash coming out from Pango. The heroes are going to be pretty difficult to kill.
Yeah. Also, the issue that LGD are a little bit concerned about right now is just this Lush plus Nyx potential offlane duo, right? You can't really put a carry in there that's just going to get kicked out of the lane at minute 5. And if you do, it has to be a flash farming style of carry like Sven, which is maybe something that LGD don't want to do in this game.
It's still a flex pick because both like Resolution and Crystallis did play Dawnbreaker with the last track. So for now, Team Secret just keeping their options open. They do not want to reveal where their heroes are going to go.
But this makes it so annoying for LGD, right? They don't understand if they have to counterplay the slash from their safe lane or counterplay it from the mid lane.
I feel like LGD doesn't actually feel that much pressure on them to counter anything right now, just because Secret has no backline jump. You have a Dazzle in this game who's going to be saving, and Tusk, not really a backliner, but it's saving, and then Enigma too.
Yeah, but you do have like Nyx Assassin to scout things out, Dawnbreaker with the ulti, followed by Silencer ulti. So it's like it's pretty simple. Yeah, it's a gank. It's like simple to execute Dota, I would say, from Team Secret, where like Nyx Assassin just scouts things out, global silence, you isolate the target and kill it until they get some like defensive items, some force staffs, something to dispel this global with.
And not just that, when the Lesh gets his Blink Dagger, it just becomes so much easier to take these chaotic fights on the side of Secret. So I don't think backline jump is that much of a concern. If they can get a good start on Secret, they can itemize for it and just count on their draft to do the rest.
Yeah, people are going Blink Lesh. It's like Bloodstone Blink, Bloodstone BKB Blink.
5 seconds.
It does eventually turn into that, especially with the Nihilism. If there's some backline right clicker, it can be pretty nice to make it so that they can't right click anyone.
So I haven't actually been able to catch a lot of Secrets games during the group stage, but I think it's so interesting how Resolution has just evolved his hero pool so often, right? I did catch, I think, one offlane Mirana game that I thought was really interesting, but just the fact that offlane Lush has become a staple for him when previously he was just known as being that Dawnbreaker guy, makes me have a lot of faith in this iteration of Secret to not be in a situation where they can get easily outdrafted.
Yeah. And I don't think, PSG LGD, they are, of course, as we heard from Tsunami earlier today, the team that has the most heroes picked, the most diversity. So they're going to be pretty comfortable as well in that draft.
looking for two heroes for PSG LGD, Luna / Terrorblade. I think these two would fit because you are ranged in the laning stage. For TB, it's like half-half, but then again, you have very strong group up, and Lashrak does not like to play those heroes, especially Terrorblade. Like, when you think about it, like, you may think, oh, Lashrak gets on top of him, but he gets dismantled by TB.
There's also still SF. Like, this hero is still in the pool. And I do think it synergizes really nicely with the rest of LGD's heroes. It also can go into the jungle and flash farm, but TB can do the same for this team.
I remember one game when they played Dazzle plus Naga Siren. It's very deadly, and also it's a good way to like just split up, because you do build into Manta Style as your first item. You can dispel the global silence with that, and then like reset the fight for your own team with the song.
The thing with Naga though is I feel like
but you're playing against Lesh.
You're playing into Lesh, yeah. Like, people always think like, oh, Lesh counters TB because of the illusions. TB's not a real illusion hero. Lone Druid, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to deal with the bear out of all of these heroes on Secret, and I feel like that's kind of the situation in which you like to pick Lone Druid right now is just when there's just nothing to deal with it, and it's all of a sudden it's like now there's this thing that has to be answered by Secret in this next pick.
Yeah, the thing with Lone Druid is early on, if you don't have a good way to stop the Lone Druid's push once it gets the Malcolm and Dessa, you just end up losing so much on the map. And yeah, I think Secret's lineup can kill the bear quite easily once they get some items up on the Lesh and the Dawnbreaker, but before then, you're looking at this Enigma Wraith Pack timing, this Lone Druid hitting just a couple of items and like giving up too much on the map.
That is a off-lane silencer, by the way.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's time. It's time to bring it out.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Also, Crystal Maiden last pick.
Yeah.
We saw Crystal Maiden being banned in the first phase.
Yeah, I love it.
This hero got a lot of love.
So the Frostbite's going to be really value against the Lone Druid bear, which we talked about, which is probably why they were looking at it. Also, just the freezing field as a means to fight early on is pretty cool. Like, we talked about how important it is for the silencer to get gone on first. So if disables are used on trying to kill the silencer, your support CM can actually do a lot for you if there's nothing to cancel her freezing field. So I think it's interesting, but I do like LGD's draft more.
So do I. Yeah, so do
I just think that this Lone Druid can do so much, and they got this Enigma. This Enigma's just been the hero of the last 2 or 3 tournaments. It just seems so broken.
It does.
It just makes it so easy to group up and play for the objectives that you want. And I really don't feel like Secret are going to stop LGD's timing.
Maybe I'm too focused on lanes, but I feel like if you're Silencer against Lone Druid Dazzle, you're pretty sad. Like, that is a tough
It
lane.
sounds very difficult to play this lane. It really does.
It really does. All right. Well, it could be that we are missing something completely. Who knows how this first game is going to play itself out? We're going to find out together with Sunspan and Synderen.
Thank you, Sheever. Sunspan here with Synderen. Upper bracket stop looking at TI11 Secret versus PSG LGD. This is. That's my voice. All right, that distracted me a bit. We are in game. No, this is going to be. This is a hype matchup. Second seed Secret, unfortunately for them, have to face off against PSG LGD, who many feel are the favorites going into this tournament, but they ended up third in their group, Cinder.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a slow start. I think LGD's day one was one of the weaker ones they've had in quite a while, but they picked up a lot of steam throughout the groups, and that, you know, that's kind of what you want. You want to go into the bracket in top form, and I think there's a lot of good things to be said about how LGD have developed throughout this tournament. So very curious to see this. Like you said, Secret definitely. Is it fair to call them an underdog in this? You probably always call teams underdogs against LGD, right? Just historically speaking.
Especially you, yeah.
I always think LGD is going to win until they don't. But
well, you were telling me they've been top 3 at 5 TIs. Is that right? That is kind of insane. Obviously, different rosters for a lot of those, but regardless.
Yeah, they've played every TI since TI2.
Yeah.
And they've got 5 top 3s, but they've never won. I think they've got 2 or 3 second places. Out of those top 3s, all right. Let's see,
going to see some early action for the bounty. Zayat ends up netting himself that, but Resolution's going to take a little bit of damage here. which of course we are going to talk about Resolution a bit here, not just because he's awesome, Cinder, but he's playing a Silencer position 3.
Oh, I thought it was because he's playing your voice line. Okay.
I did tell him to do that, and he's been a very good boy so far. Thank you, Roman.
Yeah, Silencer offlane, very unusual here from Secret. It is something that I think Puppy's teams historically have been really good at, or how to say it. It's kind of hit or miss sometimes, but he's not afraid of doing uncharacteristic and creative approaches to laning stages to try to solve problems. I'm kind of with the panel, though, when they say, I don't think Silencer fares well against Lone Druid Dazzle. I think this is going to be a tough task for Resolution to do a lot with. He's playing with a support core in the Nyx who doesn't have the most laning impact compared to, say, something like a Marcy. So I think they might have their work cut out for them down here in lane. A little bit of a trade-off here between Nisha and Nothing to Say. I just wanted to wrap up the thing we talked about with LGD's TI attendances, right? Because something that's funny about Secret as well is that they've placed like every position at TI, more or less, in the last 6 years. The only ones that have eluded this roster, I think, are actually second and first place. Last year they got third, the year before they got fourth, and I think they had a fifth, sixth, seven, eighth. You know, right. More or less gone up one placement per year. So is this the year that Secret reaches the final?
I mean, as you know, I did pick these two teams to end up in the finals, which may be a little awkward since they are facing off so early in the upper bracket, but
that doesn't rule it out.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Secret, I think I've locked them in for second place. It's just how it's going to happen. Obviously, Puppy knows more than everybody. But yeah, PSG, LGD obviously very strong, but the groups not as, I mean, they bled a little bit, Cinder. What do you think that is attributed to? Do you think they've been playing so much over the past, like all these tournaments coming up into TI, maybe a lot of research has been done against them? Or is a lot of it like Secret and teams like Liquid that have really gotten this ball rolling because of the last chance qualifiers?
Yeah, I think in part certain other teams have really raised their level in the last month and kind of caught up to an extent. But I also think aside from that, LGD have been very creative in their strategies. I think when you play this many different heroes and this many different strategies, some are going to miss. Unless you think back to something like Wings at TI6, where they were just so much better than a lot of other teams that they could run almost any heroes they wanted and just win on raw skill. The competitive field now is just so much closer, so I think if you do run a lot of different strategies, you're not going to hit it every single time. And also, like we said, just a little bit of a slow start in day one, right? I think after day one, they more or less dropped, I think, 1 or 2 games in total.
That's fair. That's fair.
They just had to warm up a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah, in the mid lane right now, Nisha sitting on 15 and 1 CS. As you can see, a little action top lane. Faith Beyond taking the brunt of the damage here. Chrysalis still with the Starbreaker, will fully connect, and that looks like first blood goes the way of Secret in this game number 1.
This is just such a good carry against Enigma in lane. So what generally does well... Oh, this is gonna... I hope we're not going to hear this every time they get a kill. I listened to you enough already.
Sorry about that.
Why did you have to make that one?
Have to try to compete with Slack, you know?
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Splitter Earth does connect from Nisha. Nothing to say, in a bit of trouble. Gets off his shield crash, pops the Fairy Fire, will survive. But you can see the CS. I mean, it's pretty even overall. Would you say that this is kind of expected, Lesh versus Pango?
Yeah, I think it is ultimately slightly Leshrac favored because you have that range advantage and you're just going to spam out the harass. A lot of what ends up happening in this lane, I think, comes down to whether you can ensure that you get the 4-minute water rune on Pango. He might not even get the chance here. Nisha going back. Okay, that was a little bit too crazy. But he's really trying to bully NTS out of lane here and ensure that he gets the water runes. If there is a rotation coming in now from Puppy, which I think there will be, who's, by the way, in classic Puppy style, jungling minute 3 on his Crystal Maiden.
Yep.
For value, obviously, Dawnbreaker, one of the best carries in lane against Enigma, so doesn't need too much help. He can kill the Eidolons on his own with his 2 spells. And PSG LGD will be the ones to ensure both water runes. Actually, a bit surprising that Puppy didn't come down here at all to try to help Nisha out, because I think now the mid lane is more or less going to equalize with the resources that Nothing to Say is going to have coming in now.
There is still a bounty rune for Nisha to pick up right now as well, and it did cost them a little bit of rotation. I mean, they're rotating in to help him out, but I mean, like you said, frostbiting those creeps in the jungle. Yummy, yummy for Mr. Puppy.
Yep. Closing in on level 3. Probably going to see him skill the Arcane Aura. I'm curious about his build. Puppy, I think, is one of the Crystal Maiden players historically that's been the happiest about maxing out Aura just to try to dominate the side lanes by giving them that extra influx of mana. As there will be the level 3 point. Pretty standard to go 1-1-1. It's going to be telling what he does from here on out, because I think there's also a lot of good things to be said about especially the Crystal Nova in this game. It's a good spell against the Lone Druid. It's a reliable, strong slow. It's good against the Tusk. You know, you want to slow them down so they can't stay on top of targets with Tank Team. But maybe he still rates the Aura higher. All right, got to see a little little bit of a poke down here on bottom.
Yeah, Poison Touch slowing Resolution to a crawl. You can see Zayat is coming, but it's going to be too late. So first kill for PSG LGD so far in this game.
I'm actually impressed with how much farm Rezo has here. I think having 21 and 7 here is pretty respectable given the laning
that is true.
matchup that he
It
has.
is a silencer off lane.
It's silencer.
Very odd.
It's very... I think odd is a good word to describe it. We'll return now here to the lane. I think... So I don't think silencer off lane is not viable and can't be run. Obviously, I mean, Secret are on something, right? They have an idea with this, but I do think Nyx is perhaps a little bit too much on the greedy side in terms of laning presence. Like, let's say you're playing with Clockwork or you're playing with Marcy or something. I think there's more potential to stand your ground and fight and hold the lane. But what's Zayat's going to do for you? He has one Impale, and the Lone Druid is just going to run at your silencer, and you have to yield every single time. But the good news for Secret is the other two lanes are going great. They get there, obviously, the core Dawnbreaker, as expected, doing great against the Enigma in the top lane. And as we alluded to, Nisha still doing just fine in that mid. Both level 6s now picked up in the mid lane. Wonder if we're going to see a potential rotation. I mean, both Crystal Maiden and Nyx have plays against Pango. You have the Frostbite, and you have the 2 stuns on Nyx to set up the Lesh. With that level 6 Pulse Nova could be a potential play.
I don't know what the stats are now, but last I heard, Crystal Maiden win rate was approaching 70% with actually a respectable amount of games played.
Yep.
Why do you think that is?
So I haven't looked too much in detail exactly at which teams play it.
65.9.
That is a very high win rate. I think part of it is what teams elect to pick it, right? I think Secret have been running it in multiple games, and they have a great win rate. So obviously that's going to inflate it a little bit. But I also just think CM in general has received some meaningful buffs lately. I think Crystal Nova is a very powerful spell when you get the right talents. And maybe also a little bit about the pacing of the game, right? And teams maybe have a slightly better understanding of what to pair it with as well. You know, in the past, one of Maiden's problems has been getting run over in lane, but you put it with Dawnbreaker carry. You know, you're probably not too worried about being beaten in lane. Then you go in transition, and something that your hero can do that a lot of 5s can't is actually you scale incredibly well with few items, right? If you get a BKB on this hero, if you get some sort of utility.
Nice snowball. Ends up getting out of the range of the Starbreaker, but it matters not because Puppey is here to play as well. So 1 kill for Secret as Wyatt. Approach the tier 1 tower will be fine. Resolution in the meantime. It's going to lose. Nothing to say, actually died to Zayats.
Yep, so there was that mid-rotation coming in from the Nyx and getting full value out of the 202 build. Very standard for Nyx to not get mana burn until later in the game. And what you do offer then is that if you connect that first stun on Pango, he can't really reset, right? You just stand in his path and, oh well, he can try to, he needs to be a little bit careful about how he jumps with Swashbuckle essentially, and you can maybe catch him with Carapace as he does that to hit the creep wave. Use that as a setup for a secondary stun, and then Leshrac with the third stun.
Oh, but Snowball in onto the mid lane. Nisha already at half HP. And here comes Nothing to Say with the Rolling Thunder, but a big Solar Guardian coming in as well as Crystal is trying to focus down Jin Q. They'll be successful eventually, and Nothing to Say has to roll away. So rotations from both sides ends up netting Secret the kill on the Tusk.
This is something Secret's lineup has in spades, actually. They don't necessarily have the best setup. You only really have the Nyx that's going to initiate moves, but you have so much counter engage. You have the Dawn ult, you have Global Silence, you have Spike Carapace. If the enemy team is the one making a move on you and you have your spells ready, you got to be very wary as LGD about how you initiate moves. And yep, that was a nice punish there. It will, at the very least for LGD, it will give Faith beyond level 6 and a little bit of space in that top lane. He's happy to finally have a little bit of space away from this Dawn.
Secret find Ame. Zayats gets off the Impale, but see the ult coming out from the Lone Druid as Nisha's here with the Pulse Nova. Y gets up a nice Poison Touch. Nice blocks coming out from Zayat, but the Grave comes out as well. It's Nothing to Say is coming to try to help out his comrade, but oh, he actually does TP out just barely enough HP, and Nisha and company have to hightail away, but Nisha gets blocked in by the Ice Shards. Split Earth only hits on one. You can see Resolution trying to help him out. It actually dodges the Swashbuckle. Jin Q will be the one to fall, and now they're going to turn this around to Nothing to Say as well. So it ends up being a 2-for-1 as Secret looked like they were going to lose out on that engagement, but a nice turnaround and a great voice line from Resolution. Perfect timing.
I love that movement from Nisha in that moment, by the way. It's one of those situations where Pango has an expectation of, okay, Lesh is going to retreat in this angle. Nisha just ran into them, and he took some of the Swashbuckle damage, but Pango couldn't connect afterwards because he jumped across to the other side, expecting Nisha to be running away. And that means they don't have that damage in the tank to finish him off, and he will in turn just kill off, I believe it was the Tusk, and then, you know, Pango finds himself in a very compromised position as well afterwards. Worth noting, by the way, Resolution is not skilling global yet. He's level 7. He's 4-1-2 build, so I thought we were going to see the global silence as a solution to some of this aggressive movement that LGD can make, but doesn't consider it worth it just yet.
Yeah, very interesting. As the runes have been kind of eluding Mr. Nisha for quite a while. He's guessed bottom like 3 times in a row and has not been there, but still, both him and Crystallis are top net worth at the moment for the entire game. But overall, the game feel like, in terms of the actual, like, the feel of the game right now, who do you think this favors? Because we have Faith Beyond getting quite a bit of farm now into that triangle.
It's kind of hard to say. I feel like a lot of the time when Secret gets to these super late game situations with Dawnbreaker, it falls a little bit flat a lot of the time when they play it as carry. It has its limitations. The level 25 talent, though, is amazing, but you need to get there and get the 2 Starbreaker chargers. With that said, though, they have come off to a pretty good mid-game situation now where because Enigma's...
Zayats impale into the Solar Guardian. Ame gets off his ult again. Very tanky boy.
Remotely close to being enough damage when he gets the true form off. And it might cost Crystallis.
Yeah, the snowball is going to connect. You can see the Lone Druid Bear going pretty ham here, but Puppey's there with the slow. And the hammer coming in now to Jin Q with the help of Resolution. So again, Secret getting the better of this engagement despite being the ones falling back initially in this fight.
That was a good time to find that skill up point into Global Silence, preventing the Shallow Grave from coming in with a potential save there onto Xingqiu. And yeah, good movements from Secret so far. I think they're doing a really, really good job at connecting heroes. And wow, would you have a look at the CS right now? Nisha, 10 CS per minute. Ooh, he's got 114 to the only 58 of Pango. So again, the big winner on LGD in all of this is Faith Beyond, who gets the space, but he has a lot of ground to cover. If Secret can keep up this pace, we're looking at a potential kind of formidable mid-game where, yeah, you have this Enigma, you have this team fight, but you know you need to work around Global Silence, you know you need to work around Spike Carapace, and even Solar Guardian. So until you get BKB on Enigma, I feel like Black Hole is kind of a pipe dream. You're not really likely to get off. They will get the top tower, though. Rotation now from Ame will connect on the Lone Druid. Get that last hit for his Enigma.
And
Great Effect maybe is a time for them to try to do something. I think they're just probably end up conceding this tower. Nisha has a haste rune. Nice D-ward there.
D-ward as well. And Nisha, let's see if he waits around for that Diabolic Edict cooldown, but you can see nothing to say in Jin Q in the area. Do you want to talk about the Roche potential from each side? Because I feel like PSG LGD, they have really good Roche fighting in that area, and Secret not nearly as much.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's fair, and not just the fighting, also killing Roche himself, right?
Yeah,
Secret's
true.
lineup does a pretty poor job at killing Roche. They don't have meaningful physical damage except Dawn, who is rushing a Deso, which will help, but it's going to be a while before Secret likely do that unless they win a big team fight beforehand, because LGD can relatively easily go and contest the area.
Haste. Nothing to say. He gets stunned right out of the gates. They don't even need the Solar Guardian. There's Nisha, nets the kill with the Split Earth. 4K lead for Secret now.
They are absolutely destroying.
Starting to run away with it, as you see Puppey's ult come out after the Frostbite, and Zayats is here with another Impale Starbreaker to finish off Jin Q.
We were late on the grave there from Y. Kind of uncommon that he doesn't get that off in time. Yeah, Secret are crushing them right now. Just move after move. That's something that this Radiant lineup struggles with. If Pango is not having a good game, there are ways of initiation. What do you have? You have the Tusk, who can maybe set it up. He just reached level 6. The supports of LGD have been massively under-leveled this game. You're finding both of them finding their 6s at like 13 minutes. Compare that to Secrets, right? Zayats is now level 8, Puppey's level 7 and a bit, so way ahead from these early successful moves. And I think it's just too integral for LGD's lineup that Jin Q was able to do some of these rotations correctly, and it just hasn't been the case. He's 1 and 5, hasn't really connected much, hasn't had the best pairings, so could foresee Secret just keep building on this lead as they will be getting more and more map control. And again, you got to pick your fights very wisely as LGD in this game. It's the amount of counter initiation makes it very, very difficult to really pick your. It's kind of like pick your poison, right? You're not going to get a free fight at any point. I think it's.
Yep, definitely not at this
pace. How long do you
pace.
need to farm? It's tricky.
Well, nothing to say. Still working on his Diffusal Blade, and you talked about Crystallis. Just about to finish his Deso, just needs the last component with the Blightstone. And Nisha, how fast? Oh, he already has Bloodstone. Okay, that was pretty fast.
Yep.
All right, very good.
Very, very farmed. And he's obviously this nice aggressive ward that Secret have on the inside the enemy jungle is going to allow Nisha to play very aggressively down here. It's pretty standard for Dire to do this when they do get the bottom tier 1 tower, is to start occupying this area. And Leshrac is just such an amazing hero for this. He's a difficult kill. He has the counter initiations that we've talked about, and he can almost solo this tower in 2 rounds of Edict. So he is going to force rotation from PSG LGD to come down here, and they really don't want to play on the defense, right? Like, LGD's lineup is kind of crafted to hit a timing right now and go and force your towers. So if you're the one setting the agenda, you're already really happy.
Looking to tank the gank. Oh, the Global Silence is giving him some cover, and the Solar Guardian coming in as well. Jin-Q is just punished right off the bat. Beautiful play from Secret as they just shut that smoke gank down immediately. And Zayat's looking for more.
Oh, this could be big. They don't have
a Solar Guardian though, yeah.
Dropped everything. Still trying.
Gets off the Vendetta first. Actually gets the Impale as well. Crystallis is here with the huge Starbreaker, and down goes Ame. And Secret starting to really run away with this.
You're going to have a word with Resolution after this game. This is getting out of hand.
I'm going to have to give him some more money, I think. Yeah, he's doing a great job. Yeah. Speaking of Resolution, he has the Falcon Blade into Force Staff. He's going to see a Starbreaker again come out. Faith Beyond caught out. His own side here. Zayat stuck inside the Ice Shards. Nothing to say. He's going to be blocked off by said Ice Shards. And the Force Staff that we just talked about from Resolution coming into play already. 7K lead for Secret. Things are looking very good for them. And again, I mean, if you have a big enough lead, then taking Roche isn't that hard, considering like you just get a pick off or 2 and then you can just take it. But I feel like that is the best opportunity for LG to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think ideally what they want to do is once Global Silence and the Donald have come out, you want to smoke and make your own move, right? Because that's one moment in time where you can initiate something without the fear of just getting immediately globally countered. But they're not managing to do that right now. They have about 30 seconds to go if they did want to make a rotation, but Secret are very firmly planted in the bottom half of the map while LGD are in the top, so they're not going to find anything, and that just means that come minute 18, Secret are just ready to rock and roll again. And it's hard to see the path for LGD to initiate fights, so maybe you just need to, again, slow things down, farm it up. But what's the exact timing you're playing for? So your Lone Druid has Maelstrom and he's going towards the Mjolnir. Your Enigma is not going BKB because he's going to be scared about Global the whole game, and maybe he will just never get to use Black Hole, more or less. So he's going for the Greaves. All right, they're going to try to turn this into Roche. I kind of like this. I think maybe if they did this a little bit earlier, this would have been a higher impact play, because actually the Global and the Donald are now online again, so might have missed the timing if Secret find this opportunity to get in there with Zayat.
Yep, Roche going down slowly. The Wraith packed inside as Nisha seems to have a decent idea that this is happening. He's just going to walk right in with the Split Arc. Gets off the Pulse Nova and the Bloodstone ahead of him. The Solar Guardian on the outskirts as Zayat gets stunned, but nothing to say. Already gets off his Rolling Thunder, but a huge Starbreaker. Crystallis deletes Faith Beyond. Jin-Q starting to get quite low as Puppey's the first to fall for Secret, so it's a 1-for-1. He's going to buy back into the game, though. Double kill from Crystallis coming out as well, and Nisha pretty much out of mana, but it's just enough to take out Ame. And now Y and company from LGD have to get the hell out of here, as Secret will likely get the Roche.
Yeah, maybe Secret kind of let them do that.
Thanks for the damage.
Do the hard work for us. You know, we can't really kill Roche ourselves that quickly, so if you guys would please get him to a quarter health, we'll just show up with our spells and clean you out. They didn't even use Global. Like, Rezo actually doesn't have the mana for it right now. It was not necessary in that fight. They had a Donald, which was okay to connect on the side. We're going to see the replay here, so I love the way Secret approached this fight by sending in Leshrac first. He knows he has so much defensive cover plus the Bloodstone that he's not worried. And they find this connection on the left-hand side. This pretty much ends the fight. They kill off the Enigma with the Nyx as well as the Dawnbreaker ult, connect that, and Ame, sure, you find the Crystal Maiden in the middle of that fight, but you're in the middle of the fight against Lesh, and you're not getting out of there afterwards, so easy cleanup for Secret. And man, going into the series today, I was not expecting that any game would be this one-sided as this is looking right now. Are LGD adopting some sort of new strategy? You know, start out slow in groups, then you pick up some steam, you go into the playoffs, you start off slow in game number 1, you pick up your steam. That's maybe the question, because this one is not looking healthy right now.
So if I'm not mistaken, at the Arlington Major, I was casting a game of PSG LGD. We're down by like 20 plus K. Like it was a top hat shellacking level. and they brought it back. So this is the one team I would not be comfortable with a lead, no matter how much. As we see mass TPs now from PSG LGD. Global Science to give him some cover. Nisha really wants to finish off the Dazzle, not going to be able to do so. Now completely out of mana, but remember, does have the Aegis still intact. Might have to use it here, but Solar Guardian is healing up to a decent amount. Crystallis not able to connect on any stuns, though. As Secret looking to potentially reset, but no kills come out from PSG LGD. See the freezing field in the meantime, yeah. Is that bear number 1 or is that 2?
I think that is bear number 2, yeah.
Oh,
50-second cooldown now for
Okay.
Yeah, if somebody has experience killing creeps with freezing field, it is Puppy, so feels really good about that. That's a very big creep there. A so-called creep hero, if you will. It's very... If you're new to Dota, Lone Druid's bear is complicated. It's
yeah, that's true.
That's its Facebook status. It's complicated. All right. Nice Carapace.
Oh, beautiful setup. Split Earth to follow, and the Impale again. Nothing to say is dead.
And that's
Secret, man.
You got to be so careful about this as Pango. You kind of need to weigh the pros and cons of using Swashbuckle like this, because you could obviously Swashbuckle toward your own base with the damage, right? But he wanted to get a little bit of value poke out of it. Gets Carapace and gets killed. So you got to second guess yourself a lot of the time with your Pango instincts when you are playing against this hero and it's missing, because you never know when you're going to connect on that Carapace and you're just getting killed off by that.
Just kill bear, just kill bear. I have global. I don't have global.
It's okay, they're all dead. I can push them.
Yeah, I can push or...
Let's check watch. Yeah,
let's go for I might just one.
Down these Arcans. They're gonna run bottom to our outpost. We can
smoke into them.
I can smoke mango. We don't have actually.
Yeah, I will swap.
Not global, but we can fight easy.
Let's fight needs 15 seconds though.
Oh yeah, the classic wrestle, no global, we can fight easy. Well, he didn't have mana.
Oh, Impale set up onto Faith Beyond with the Solar Guardian, but a nice Tusk Snowball mitigates a lot of it as Crystallis pops the BKB a little bit prematurely. Starbreak doesn't really connect very well, but they still have the damage, it looks like, to take out Faith Beyond. And Jin Q is next on the list. So despite the Secret Initiation not going as planned, I mean, with this kind of a lead, it doesn't really matter sometimes.
It's just such a strong position for their lineup to play on this high ground, right? And you're seeing again Faith Beyond. He's just holding Black Hole. He can't use it. So the impact of this hero very, very minimal so far in this game, considering what we've seen from Enigma earlier in the tournament. Secret seems to have a very good understanding of how to solve it. And this looks like Y will also finding a quick way back to base. Has Grave.
Yeah.
Okay. He kind of juked them by running in a line.
Sometimes it's the hardest path to follow. Okay.
That is really impressive that he found a way out of that.
On the other side of the map, though, Jin Q gets off the initiation. Already has his shard as Zayats gets off the Impale, as Nisha has to walk his way around, but looks like Jin Q is likely to fall. He's getting healed up, though. And still the Aegis in line for Nisha, so he is not scared. Eventually, Jin Q goes down, and there's the stun follow-up. And Nisha, they're looking for the bear. That's all the damage that Ame has. I mean, to get Lightning Storm down, he's just going to continue on now. They're looking for a full team-wipe potentially. Global Silence is there. Nisha just hedging his bets. GG is called. And Secret completely stomped game number 1. Not what we were expecting, but Secret off to an amazing start.
Yeah, that was not even remotely close. Just absolutely crushed them start to finish. The lanes went well. I think the double counter to the Enigma really caused a lot of problems for LGD. I mean, it's easy to say, right? Because he never cast Black Hole. It's pretty rare that you see a game with Enigma not using ulti a single time.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it from his perspective. He's playing into some super hard counters. They let the Silencer through to second phase. Secret more than happy to pick that up and just put on a clinic in this game. Everything went exceptionally well. Nisha got the fast Bloodstone like you talked about. He gets the Aegis and they just get the job done. Like, he runs in, what's killing him? They have no healing reduction. He puts on the Bloodstone, goes to town, hits a lot of units with Pulse Nova and just kills them out of everything.
So LGD kind of, I mean, I was going to say on the ropes. Technically on the ropes would be lower bracket. They obviously would still have another life if they were able to, if they were going to lose a second game in the series. But, I mean, this was beyond any of our understanding, I feel like, or our predictions, especially yours. Because you always pick LGD to win, and they always lose somehow.
That is just not true. I mean, they win a lot of the time, but
I mean,
they do lose sometimes.
Technically, you're right, actually.
Yeah,
that is,
and it is important to be technically correct, as we both know.
That is correct. But I mean, going into game 2, what do you think? What does LGD need to do? Was this a draft thing? Was this a laning stage thing?
I think part of it was definitely the draft. I think they had some problems with how the lanes went, so I think that's where you want to start, and then go from there, build yourself a game so that you can be competitive in the mid game.
All right, well, with that, let's see what the panel has to say, and we'll see if Jenkins has gotten a haircut in the last 10 minutes.
He did not get a haircut in the last 10 minutes. And to be honest, didn't have time for it. We're watching Dota. Come on, we want to listen to your beautiful voices the whole time, not miss a single second. And that was tough to do because blink and you miss it. This game was very fast here, joined by Effie, Lacoste, and of course Jenkins, indeed, still with his long hair. Jenkins, breaking this game down, it went a little bit different than what you were expecting.
Jenkins.
Jenkins.
I will say I'm very surprised that Suns fan was the one casting that. He didn't say what level of shellacking that was, because that was a very high tier shellacking. Obviously, with him being the leader of the council, I can't say it was definitely Gaben level shellacking. And LGD, nonetheless, like that's insane. Nobody expected this. Nobody. Not a game that is that decisive.
I'm still kind of shocked. That went completely the opposite of what I thought would happen. We were completely wrong. The Lone Druid looked like it did nothing. The Silencer actually had a great time. The Dazzle felt countered also by the Silencer, not just the Enigma. And Enigma never really found his entry point into the game. I just want to kind of take it back to that Nisha mid lane dominance, though. He completely bullied out Nothing to Say's Pangolier and made it so that the access into the game through the tempo of the Pango could never actually happen because there was just so much pressure coming out of the Slush Rack. And of course, the early Dawnbreaker rotations by Crystalist, he was getting so many kills. The first Tusk rotation mid, against Slash went completely bad because Dawn was already level 6, and they just, it felt like Secret had their number every step of that game.
I know it's a meme, this Nisha is such a consistent player thing, but I do feel like he's 7-0-6, he's just, it's like he's consistent, but he's consistently diving towers and consistently getting away at 10% HP. The guy's a monster.
He knows that he has the back of his team with either like Crystallis backing him up, the Global Silence, Nyx Assassin with the Carapace. I mean, we thought this game's gonna go in a different way, but yeah, they completely shut down Enigma. One of the few times where you see like Fate Beyond being completely mitigated. Like he couldn't do anything. I don't think we've seen a single black hole. Sometimes we don't see a black hole where there's like the threat of the black hole is stronger than he's actually using the black hole. Yeah. But this time around, playing against the Silencer as well, very difficult game. Like Nothing to Say. I feel like he needed to be that guy that is gonna step up for his team in this one, because like. Sure, Dazzle is a position 5, doesn't move around the map that easily. But as you said, Jenkins, he got completely dominated by Nisha.
Based on that performance, I don't think LGD can go for these Pangos versus Leshrocks, right? They have to go for some hero that can self-sustain and just not get kicked out of a lane if they're going to win the game. At least if they're going to play something like a Lone Druid from the safe lane. So there's going to be a lot of revision, but I still have faith that we're going to have a good series here today, and it's not going to be a 2-0.
Well, it's going to be a very important mid-series moment for them to get the speed that they need to force out that third game. And while we are taking that moment, we're also going to have a moment with Slacks and Casey.
Back to you.
And while we are taking that moment, we're also going to have a moment with Slacks and Casey.
Hello, thank you so much, Shivers. Casey, one of the greatest things about Dota, about the International, is one of my favorite things in general. It is content, and it is the short film contest. We have a very special opportunity here to show you some of the finalists. Now, you watch these, right, Casey? You enjoy all the different short films out there, all the different Dota content, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have 3 of the best ones coming up here. We have one that was hand-drawn in anime style. We have a live action one, and we have one made with some source filmmaker and other stuff. So the Dota community gets so creative with these things. I'm sorry I'm monologuing, but we got a chance. So go ahead, Casey, if you can, please take a break from that LGD game, wash your face a little bit, take a breather, and get ready to watch some short films. Let's take a look.
I think he's gone.
Your life is mine.
Oh, they're all so good.
That was insane. That was insane.
That's mad. I mean, you said how everybody's so talented. We saw the first one. This one's gonna win. We saw the second one. Oh, wait a second.
Wow. And the third one, we need live action Dota movie.
I didn't even know you could submit live action Dota short films. That's so cool. How much did it cost to make, do you think? That looked expensive. They're special
Those were
effects
all
and,
dark. I liked how dark all of those were. That was good.
Oh, I mean, they were dark, but they were good. I mean, Dota is a fairly dark game.
It is.
If you think about it, so it's very fitting. Is there any that you have favorite of those three? Or?
I'm gonna go with the second.
I think number 2 for me. Number 2 was good.
For me, the third one, because I haven't seen someone submit a live action.
Are we gonna expect an Effie live action short film next year?
I don't know, I have no talent. It's okay.
How about you, Jenkins?
I'll be the one that says that's not true.
Thanks, Jenkins.
Nobody's
I appreciate it.
You guys just said nothing. I was like, oh, surely Shiver's gonna. Yeah, that's not true. Yeah, let that sink in. I got
How do I tell her that I agree?
No.
She said it.
Speaking of talent, there's a lot of it on the main stage of the playoffs here for the international Team Secret. 1 game up against PSG LGD in this upper bracket match. And they did it very fast, very convincingly. We know the PSG LGD is a very veteran team. They also know how to come back from a loss. Where do you start when you have those 10 minutes between game end and game start? Where do you start by saying, okay, here's where we went wrong, when a game went like that across?
I mean, PSG LGD, most of the time they're on the winning side. I mean, if you look at this score, GNQ from the previous game, 1-9-0. That's something that does not happen. But this is also a team that can shake it off, completely go with a different draft, go change the bans as well, leave the heroes in the pool. A team that can adapt so quickly, and like they're a team that has variety of the heroes that they play. If you check like their Dota stats, whatever, it just shows like I'm playing like 10, 12, 13 different heroes, and it like you know that they can play whatever it's needed at the time.
We saw it in True Sight how they shake things off. There's a lot of Zhao 8 accepting the blame on himself, being like, hey guys, like I screwed this thing up in the draft, like we'll just go in and do this next time. Also, you know, Jin-Q, and we saw during True Sight, he was like, I feel like I can't do anything on the IO. Like they make these calls where it's like, this was a core problem in this series, in this game. We don't know if this is a core problem with the team, but we're not ready to do it like this again. Let's change this one thing and go into the next game. I really do truly believe in their ability to reset. I think everybody does, given True Sight, of course.
Yeah, and I really do think that that game in particular can be traced back a little bit to that mid lane matchup, but also just giving away the Silencer versus the Enigma that you managed to snatch in the first phase. I also do think that the Chen and Enchantress first phase bans were a bit overkill, right? You can absolutely ban out that Chen because it is a contested hero between both of these teams, but the Chen and the Enchantress is kind of giving a little bit too much respect to a playstyle that is not overpowered right now.
That's very true. And it's probably where we're going to see something being changed up, because a couple of different bans here and there will shake things up completely. Of course, also pick order will be changed slightly. So maybe, you know, the Enigma was picked up. Yes, it was not that successful, and we were expecting the Silencer to be banned before that already. But perhaps this time around, we'll just not let us get through altogether. Or maybe in the hands of Team Secret, in which case I think they will want to ban out the Silencer as well. I think there's a lot of people here wanting to get
That's the classic.
Game
That's
3. It's been a relatively rapid day so far on the main stage. But let's see if PSG LGD can set themselves up for success here in Game 2 of this series.
PSG LGD versus Team Secret. Game 2.
So draft is upon us, and that means we are going to talk more about the heroes that will be picked or banned in the next coming 10 minutes, because that's where a coach will go to look at, okay, if Zawade says, it's my fault, I messed up, it's because of the draft, and that's easily fixed. Although I do need to take us a little bit back to after the draft was done, where my panel, you guys thought PSG LGD won the draft.
We really did, and it went absolutely the opposite of what we thought. But also, I think it's doing a disservice to Secret to credit that win to only the draft. I think they played really well.
Totally agree.
They were able to back each other up. I think Crystal's also absolutely stepped up that game, not just Nisha. And it's really interesting how Secret can play a style where they also have the backup carry in Resolution, right?
Yeah.
The only lane that went badly for Secret last game was the Silencer lane. And because they were able to just play as a unit of 4 post minute 8 or something like that, Silencer was just sitting in that bottom lane farming away. And it's just really interesting that this team, even though they're such a new roster, are so flexible in how they can play around each other.
Yeah, being able to flex the Silencer to off lane means that they can very comfortably first phase it and just flex it and pick other supports if those supports seem to be good in the draft. And yeah, it's strong. It's strong.
The question is, are they willing to give away Marcy to Team Secret? Because last time they did ban Chen and Enchantress. FEU said it was a bit of an overkill. I mean, also thinking about it, why one of the better Enchantress players out there? So I think Marcy just could make a lot more things difficult for PSG LGD if they leave Marcy in the pool.
One thing with Resolution as an offlaner is that he can be thrown into like bad lanes, and I feel like he's pretty good at identifying that all he needs to do is like not feed. And then the rest of Secret does well enough that he can catch up. Like Effie was saying, like after the laning stage on Silencer, he just sat in lane and like free farm, even though the lane was quite difficult for him. And no matter what hero he's thrown on, it seems like he's able to do that. Even when he like played other roles, he was able to recover always. He's a very stable player.
So they give away Marcy, and their second ban goes out to the Bat Rider. We've seen it pop up a couple of times, but first phase ban is not that usual. What could that say about the rest of the draft?
It doesn't even have a good win rate. The last time I checked, it was
That's 17% last time I checked.
It is not the best of heroes right now, so I honestly don't know where they're going with this. I'm just going to have to wait and see. LGD do try to be a little bit more experimental with their drafts when they can, but I don't think Game 2 of the Upper Bracket Series is when you want to do this.
We see these the Frosty Heroes get more and more priority. The Lich first pick for PSG LGD. They paired up with the Tiny.
Now I can kind of understand the Bat ban to a large degree, just because like obviously like, Nisha does play it. He has been playing it, but against the Frost Shield, Bat Rider just doesn't care. Lich does nothing to Bat, and Bat has one of the highest win rates in the game versus Tiny. I think he's like the second highest win rate next to TB because you do overwhelming magical damage. Tiny gets a BKB, sure, but you play long fights with Bat Rider.
And someone asked on the panel, did these teams watch the previous game? Looking how this draft panned out, I would say yes.
Yeah.
So it also makes it so that this Tiny can be played mid comfortably without a Bat Rider to like thwart him on lane and later on. But also by having this Tiny in the game, you're not that scared of the SF plus Marcy matchup. We saw how Thunder Awaken were able to play these two heroes to success, right? They used Dark Mago's Tiny to constantly toss back the Shadow Fiend, and it made his game really difficult. While they also had the Frost armor from Lich to negate any of the damage coming out of Marcy. I like the pivot that Secret does here and just takes the Leshrac back again instead of going for the SF that LGD left in the pool, because Lesh does not care about Frost armor and also lanes quite well versus Tiny, so why change it if it's not broken? Also still flexible to the offlane like we talked about last game.
Yeah, keeping their options open and also having another potentially ranged against melee matchup on the mid lane, which you know that Nisha is going to win.
Anytime I see a Marcy though in an Leshrac, it's like it feels so good to lane those two heroes together. It is so strong. But the same thing can also be said with the Marcy rotation, because not only is she arguably the strongest laning support in the game, she's also the strongest rotating support in the game. So she can also go mid. But if they do want to throw this in a side lane for Secret, there's very little that's going to be able to beat a Marcy plus Leshrac.
This Leshrac just makes LGD a little bit uncomfortable because based on how Nisha played last game, it made it so that they really didn't have any proper moves, and Leshrac is a hero that can lane well versus this mid Tiny, so they are considering the ability of LGD to flex it to just support and pick something like Alina, which Secret have already preemptively banned out, right? I just think that it's incredibly important for Nothing to Say to have some kind of entry point into this early mid game, because if they're going to play that similar style that they did in last game and go for some active carry like a Bloodseeker or a Dawn, it's going to look really close to what we saw already.
Look at how they approached this Leshrac. Banning out the Lina means that most likely this Lesh is going to be on the mid lane. If you're looking for something that can outrange as well, Sniper is the other hero I'm looking at. But then again, there is Marcy. Marcy, one of the heroes that can ruin Sniper easily with just getting on top of him, tossing him back. Yeah. So could be a bit difficult, but maybe also an Invoker works as well to have something that, because Leshrac does a lot of poke damage with his Lightning Storm. You can dodge the ganks. One good Tornado can stop the ganks, set things up for your Tiny to come in. So could work out.
Is it strong enough to be banned here for Team Secret? We're gonna get a Ursa banned out first.
Very quick bans and picks coming through.
Ursa banned, Beastmaster banned, instant Zeus pick.
Yeah.
Why? How did
Thunder
they do
Awaken played it this way.
They
Is this a rerun?
100% win rate on the main stage.
So actually, Zeus is a really good hero, in my opinion, from the mid lane to play versus Leshrac if they do decide to put it mid, and to also kind of avoid these Marcy ganks early on, just because he has the ability to disengage with Heavenly Jump, right? So just having a hero that can not get crushed on lane the way that we saw first game gives them so much already, but also just having the Thunder God's Wrath from Zeus with a Tiny on your team who's going to go Blink Dagger, it gives you the ability to scout enemies and just start the fight for yourself. So while LGD's draft has a lot of synergy together, it does look a little bit like Thunder Awakens, so I think that's why we're like, interesting. They probably did watch the series to the end, but I think it works.
It's a lot of magical burst coming out from this PSG LGD's lineup, and I'm a little worried for Team Secret, like how they're gonna soak up all this magical damage.
Well, at this point,
Core Marcy.
It looks like a Core Marcy. So who is it that plays it on the side of Team Secret? Is it Rezo? Because I think I've seen Rezo play Marcy.
Yes, Rezo plays Core Marcy.
The thing is, I was looking at Secret and I was hoping that they would go for some hero that can be the early pipe in this game. The same way we saw EG pick that Tidehunter into Thunder Awaken Zeus and buy that pipe. You kind of need something like that if you're going to play against a draft like this. But you can also just have a hero that buys BKB early and goes on the Zeus, right? So Marcy can also do that for your team.
Very true. So we got the Monkey King picked up by PSG, which also denies it. I'm assuming that for Team Secret, we are looking for a hero for Crystallis, and Monkey King is his most played hero ever, and most successful one with that as well. What heroes are still left in the pool for him? Bloodseeker and Razor obviously come to mind.
Morphling is too, but Morphling against Zeus means you can never morph low. He can just Thunder God's Wrath you. He did play Slardar.
He did.
In one game.
Okay, so I think that LGD have only played Monkey King once. Am I wrong? Do you have the stats? But when they did play it, it was their carry pick.
Yeah, I think they played it a couple times on Ame.
So it seems like they just secured their carry pick now before they go for some gotcha or it gets banned out. But
it was only once, you were right,
okay,
by the way.
Yeah, so also they just have the vision game secure with this Monkey King, right? It's a hero that can play the tree lines. You also have the Thunder God's Wrath from Zeus, and you have the Initiator in Tiny. So while the draft is synergetic together, I am a little bit concerned that Monkey King can die early on, especially if he's playing versus a Leshrac from the mid lane who's just going to rotate on him. But hopefully the Lich will be enough to secure this Monkey King's early game.
Yeah, late game, I think that matchup tends to go the other way, where, like, if Lesh wants to play into a Monkey ult, Monkey just shreds Lesh through Bloodstone, everything.
Yeah.
But early game, yeah, it's like armor for what, right? You know, Leshrac does pure damage, magic damage.
Pretty much, but once you get that BKB or Diffuse of Later Echo Saver, whatever it is that you want to do, you can
just
fight
fully
into this
drain him.
Yeah. You can also just eat this Disruptor, it's food, once you get a BKB as Monkey King, and then you can ignore the Nyx for the duration of it.
I think PSG LGD lacks a little bit of tower damage, because like Zeus, Lich, Tiny 4, they don't deal as much, so, and they also need to pick it blindly. So something that Fate Beyond does love to play, especially when paired up with this position for Tiny, is Death Prophet, where you know it deals damage, picking it blindly. It's still a strong lane, and yeah. Looking at the bans, Bloodseeker, Razor, these are Crystal's most played heroes, and they're going to get rid of that.
I really like the idea of Death Prophet because I feel like Death Prophet heals through the Disruptor harass in lane. It's a hero that really likes heroes that play into you. Lesh likes to run into you, Marcy jumps on you, and you can just siphon these heroes and they die to the ghosts. That'd be a really solid pick. I can't believe Brood's made it through this far.
Yeah. First phase ban, both games in the previous series.
Yeah. So this is very likely Crystallis's hero, which a lot of his heroes are banned out right now.
So what is still in? You mentioned the Slardar earlier.
Lifestealer, which is not
banned.
so great. Oh, it's banned?
Banned as well.
There's still Shadow.
Viper?
Morphling as well, potentially.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few options left into the pool then.
Morph feels rough against Tiny Burst and Zeus, who can ult you when you're low HP. I mean, it actually would be a good Viper game, but last time they picked the Viper, it was when they had, I think it was like Sniper Mid or something like that. So it's more of a, I guess Lesh can carry the game to a large degree, so maybe you can still go for it. They go for the Dawn.
The Dawn.
It's a repeat of game 1.
Yeah, so this Dawnbreaker, while it doesn't necessarily have the best core-to-core matchup versus the Monkey King, it can just give them that like lane security, right? It's a strong laner. It can also help the Leshrac early on, like we saw last game, versus rotations, and it's a stable pick. It's also one of Crystal's comfort heroes, so maybe they didn't want to stray too far here.
Yeah, because he had a really good game. Like, he didn't die a single time on this Dawnbreaker, and again, combination with the Nyx Assassin to be able to follow it up, scout things out. Pretty much all of these heroes died. If you find them with the Nyx Assassin, they're very low HP heroes like the Zeus, Monkey, Lich. Tiny not as much, but still, you do have enough stun, you do have enough burst damage to bring them down.
Yeah, but especially the Zeus, right? You can set up for these kills now on the Zeus with like a Carapace into one of his nukes while he's farming, and then you just have this Dawnbreaker follow-up stun. I do think the stuns exactly overlap each other, so there shouldn't be space for the Zeus to get away from ganks like that early on.
Yeah, the Death Prophet, as called, comes out here for Faith Beyond.
Yeah, I mean, they needed some kind of tower damage to be able to put the pressure on the map. Even if you have kills, sometimes it's very difficult to close out the game. Like, if they didn't have tower damage from the off lane, they would really struggle killing tier 2 towers because it just gets very difficult. I think PSG LGD, they made the adjustments that was needed, and yeah, I'm gonna put even more faith in them this time around.
So congratulations, Team Secret.
No, I do think their draft looks better. They have a means to fight back. I really would like them to win this one so we can get a game 3.
Yeah,
so not going to jinx anything, but honestly, it does look really good. The Death Prophet can sustain versus this Disruptor harass. It gives them the tower damage that Lacoste was talking about. The only issue would be whether or not this Zeus gets taken advantage of early on, because Lich is a slower hero and slower to rotate to help. But if this Zeus can have a good game early on, there really isn't that much damage mitigation on the side of Team Secret, right? There's no pipe buyer, there's no Wraith Pact buyer. You're playing with a offlane Marcy. She's not really the type that does that for you. So Secret's draft is greedier and less likely to punish LGD early on.
Jacobs, what's one thing people can look out for to see if PSG LGD is doing well and will force out this third game?
If they're doing well, I mean, I think if the game just goes late, like that's when Monkey King wins the matchup against Lesh, and like Effie mentioned, there's really nothing to deal with the Zeus.
Okay. We're going to find out if this game will indeed be a long one, as PSG LGD's draft would like. We're heading over to Sunsfan and Synderen.
Thank you, and welcome to game number 2 between Secret and PSG LGD. Happy Slacks, how are you doing?
Am I Happy Slacks?
I can't tell.
I think you're Angry Slacks, and I'm LGD after the last game. So I think you know we're doing okay up here. Let's see if LGD are doing better in this game than the previous one, because that was an absolute beatdown, and they need to bring it back here to get us a third game. Just want to give a quick shout out to the fans in the arena that supplied us with these. We have some fans here with a seemingly endless supply of Sir Action Slacks masks. I'm sure you guys will be able to find them out there, but now it's time for the game. Yep. That was a good timing on that voice line of us actually taking off the mask. So that's that did feel good to take off. I'm not gonna lie.
It is close to Halloween, and I did feel terrifying for once in my life.
That is true.
Appreciate that. As we do make it into game number 2, like we said, and already a smoke here from LGD. But looking at their lineup, Cinderin, I might have to interrupt you if things start, but you can start your monologue to tell me what you think of both sides here.
I think compared to last game, I think LGD have more early game prowess. I think last game was in a way, it was a little bit all in with how things needed to go, and the one lane that they were going to do well in kind of did, but not enough. I think this time around they have more skirmishing power with the Monkey King stun from the trees. They've got a Tiny on Jinkyu this time compared to the Tusk last game that got shut down. For Secret, they're running some of the same stuff, right? The name of the game last game was Counter Initiation. This time around they have it again. They have their Nyx Dawnbreaker combo where you stun to set up the Dawnbreaker ult, you can Carapace to set it up. Rather different though from Puppy's side to have the Disruptor instead of the Maiden. A very aggressive support that capitalizes a lot on when you initiate.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, Secret's lineup a little bit less one-dimensional than last game, which can be both a good and a bad thing. But more than anything, I don't know how much to really talk about the drafts more so than, okay, you know, for LGD, you gotta feel like you get an entry into the game, right? Whatever lineup you have. If you fall behind again, it's not a good look.
Yep, as we're going to see an Impale come out from Zayas just to poke Y a bit. But like you said, the CM very different with the Disruptor now because, I mean, we saw early game, Puppy was farming, and guess what? Disruptor cannot do that at all. He can farm heroes, though, if he's able to find pickoffs here, just forcing Y back to the tier 2 tower. Zayas TP's away now. So he's preventing the supports from getting into the lane with their position 1. Faith Beyond playing the Death Prophet here.
Interesting choice from Secret here to opt for essentially a lane swap, right? They're playing Critzalis in the off lane together with Disruptor on Puppy, so they feel like this matchup, both their side lane matchups are not particularly good against Monkey King, right? Both Marcy and Dawn are these melee heroes, but they feel like they offer more in the top lane this way, and I think part of the logic is this way they combine all of their magic damage better, right? Disruptor plus Dawn have a lot of magic damage against the Frost Shield and against Monkey King's low HP pool, so maybe they can stand their ground and fight back, whereas something like a Nyx Marcy, I think, would have kind of been overwhelmed. Sure, they have some magic damage, but it doesn't amount to nearly the same as a good Celestial Hammer plus Thunderstrike combination will, so...
I mean, as a result of these lanes, Rezo is effectively playing position 1 Marcy, which, you know, he's had plenty of practice in years past playing position 1, position 2, and obviously position 3 normally now these days. But what are your thoughts on Marcy as a POS 1 right now?
I think the hero is incredibly strong as a core in general. You need BKB phase boots and you become a monster, so whichever lane you put Marcy in where she finds farm, you will get that impact later. I do think one upside for LGD against this hero in this game, though, is that I think they have somewhat decent disengage. They have some tossbacks, they have Frost Shield against the Marcy damage. Monkey King has his jump, obviously. They have arguably the advantage of vision as well, where they have Zeus ulti, they can have Monkey in the trees. There's a Nyx on the other side, so maybe kind of equalizes it, but I definitely think this is a game where Marcy with a BKB is very strong, but until she has it, I think she can be taken advantage of by almost all of LGD's lineup, actually. A lot of magic burst, a lot of control.
And what are your thoughts on this specific mid matchup, Lesh versus Zeus?
Should be Lesh favored. It's kind of like last game where you had Nisha playing against a Pangolier. This time you're against a ranged hero, but Zeus's forte is not beating ranged heroes out of lane. It's finding his farm and then finding impact later, and just kind of trying to break even. But I do think Lesh over time should be able to build a little bit of an advantage. Nice detail there from Nothing to Say in mid, by the way. Used the heavenly jump to attack speed slow Nisha so he didn't get the flag bearer creep. Just a double CS loss, essentially.
Rezo getting forced out of lane temporarily here. 8-6 start for him, so
not the best.
Not the best, but we'll see if that changes here. Jinkyu has been applying a lot of pressure. Obviously, Faith Beyond on the Death Prep, like we talked about. A hero that, I mean, not too long ago was changed. So Spirit Siphon's not percentage-based damage, so it won't scale as well, but as a result, it's a lot of times stronger early game.
It is
a fixed amount.
So powerful around the... I think in many ways DP is one of the strongest heroes in Dota when it hits level 7. If it has 4 in Spirit Siphon and has an okay matchup, you see these clips where DPs just win 1v3s because the enemy team doesn't have healing reduction or don't have good chain stuns or kite ability to get away. a hero like Marcy is relatively safe in that regard, that she does have the rebound to get away, but you still got to be a little bit wary when Q hits level 3, because you could get tossed too far away to rebound, and then you can get avalanched in that position. But
Rezo, set up there from Zayats to start things out. Sidekick is there as well, but the Spirit Siphon from Faith Beyond is going to force Resolution back for the time being and connect back into the lane. But you can see the CS from all the lanes. This is very LGD favored. Mid lane is kind of a wash, but the other two very LGD favored, like I said. So how important is that for Secret, or sorry, for LGD to get off to this good start in the laning stage?
I mean, it's huge. Especially, I think that one of the biggest differences between this game and the last is just polar opposite game for Crystallis, right? Last game he got to play Dawnbreaker against Enigma, which is just you just coasting to a free lane.
Yeah.
This one, you have one of your worst matchups, which, again, kind of interesting that Secret opt for this, right? I think not only did they put Dawnbreaker against Monkey King, didn't they also pick it into Monkey, or what was the pick order? I feel like it was kind of, there was something about that draft that was a little bit surprising with the order.
What would have been so bad about Marcy in this lane? Because she has a way to get away from...
She does have a way to get away as well, yeah. Oh.
Glimpse back, Starbreaker, but a lot of it's mitigated thanks to the Frost Shield coming out from Y. And not gonna, I was going to say it's not going to lead to kill, but that is more damage than I thought. First Blood ends up going to Puppey. Yeah. So Secret, despite losing in the CS and the outer lanes, able to get First Blood. A nice double stun from Zayat, but the Avalanche is going to keep him in place. Spirit Siphon, and the tree toss is there. Jin Q gets credit for it.
Yeah, I think the mindset for Secret in this bottom lane should just be we can't kill, and we shouldn't go for aggressive moves, because I think the punish is just too strong, right? Even Rezo with a running sidekick on both of them, Faith Beyond is going to overpower them with Spirit Siphon. They just don't have the tools to manage that until you have maybe level 6 on Marcy. Perhaps there's an opportunity to find a kill there. But yeah, the top lane, nice kill from Secret. I'm a little bit surprised that Ame didn't get more involved in trying to save his Lich, but I think he had creeps in the tower that he was prioritizing, and maybe the communication was Y saying, I'm fine, don't worry.
Speaking of Y, take some heavy damage here, but here comes the pounce from Ame. Crystallis, it's going to be another Jingu stack coming out for Ame. Puppey basically out of mana right now. Stuns. Yeah, but a Starbreaker coming out. It does connect onto the Lich, but the Thunder God's Wrath finishes off 2 heroes. So nothing to say, despite being kind of a wash in the mid lane, now has 2 kills to his name.
Yeah, and that's going to put him at the advantage, not just breaking even now with Lesh, but will be pulling ahead on that net worth. So 500 gold advantage for him there. Had the Arcane Rune as well for that Thunder God, so it feels really good to use. It's a relatively long cooldown on level 1, but nice jump there. No Carapace.
Yeah.
From Zayats. Maybe wasn't expecting the jump to come that early from MTS, but yeah, I dare say already that the conditions LGD have in this game are going to make it a closer game than the last one. Like, this is already so much better when you consider how their lineup is going to fare in the next stages of this game. And I think the challenge here for Secret is going to be bringing Nisha into the game. I think he's the key to unlocking the game for them. He has a lot of magic damage against the Frost Shield. He's one of the heroes that can kill Monkey King right now, which, as we've established, their 2 side lane melee cores don't do the best job at. But the way you bring the Lesh into the game here is usually through the Nyx, but he's level 2. We're 7 minutes in. Zayats is having a totally different game than the first one. Really suffering down here. They're obviously going to use that to give Rezo the priority of finding a fast 6, and now he's going to leech some XP off of Nisha climbing that stack in the jungle, but it's a long ways away. I think Zayats has to take a lane away now from Nisha for a while to give himself a game. It is really important that you don't fall into that trap of supports, which I think kind of happened to LG in the last game, where you're like, you know, you can't just give your cores everything. The supports need to be unlocked to find purpose in the game. So now Zayats is back bottom.
Rezo trying to farm these creeps up, but Avalanche is there. Toss back into the Exorcism from Faith Beyond, but the rebound global range as usual. And Marcy is A-okay, to say the least.
No Sinister Gaze there, I believe, from Y.
That is true.
I think he wanted to use it a little bit later. Didn't expect Marcy to be in range for the jump on the Nyx there. So I think it is one of those moments where you need to time it perfectly, because if you use it instantly, I don't think you have enough damage for Rezo anyway, so you needed to use it delayed.
Secret are trying to fight into this Exo. It's going to be running out relatively soon, so I'm trying to time that perfectly. Rezo's going to show himself, though. Fortification was already popped as Jin Q. Oh. They do get the D word one way or the other, but it will be a deny. As you can see, nothing to say, taking a lot of damage. Actually, the Heavenly Jump on the other side, and he's just dead to Nisha. Big kill for Secret as now they try to pursue. That was a rebound into a toss, which helps the unleash a little bit here. Impale's going to connect onto one, but now Resolution has to be a little bit careful. Gets off the dispose, and there's the Sinister Gaze you were talking about from Y. They do find the kill on the support, but Resolution falls in the end, and her split art's just a millimeter off. And Nisha trying to find some more value here.
Millimeter, not inch. All right, Zinku's.
Well, it was a millimeter. Inch is bigger than a millimeter. I don't know if you know that, Cinderin.
No, you don't know what a millimeter is.
Trivia time for you as Crystallis hammers to the low ground. Looks like he's fine.
Yeah. That was a sick toss from Zinku, by the way, during... I think it was mid-air. It was mid-rebound, so he didn't get stunned, and actually made a pretty big difference there that he finds that toss to salvage that situation somewhat. But yeah, huge play from Nisha there, the rotation, finding the Zeus solo kill, finding the regen rune and converting that into additional kill with bot has essentially equalized the game now and put himself in the driver's seat, which, you know, if you're a Secret fan, you might not find this net worth split too healthy. The Lesh way at the top of the board, but then you gotta look quite far down to find the next hero for the team you're cheering for. But if you do have one hero far away of the field in this game,
we have the Impale. Nice setup from Resolution as well. Crystallis with a Solar Guardian. Faith Beyond is deleted.
Big kill.
Nice pick off, and they've obviously practiced this combo a lot.
Yep.
I mean, last game they didn't have the Marcy to help out on top of that initiation. It was just the Nyx, but it still proved to be quite potent. Now Nisha and company look to find Jin Q, but the Avalanche nicely placed from him. Spike Carapace a little bit too late.
Yeah, to quote a wise philosopher, it really does feel so good to play with multiple setup stuns as Dawn.
Thank you.
And yeah, I will never call you that again, trust. All right, Zayat.
He's going to be spotted.
Okay.
Sinister Gaze is there. Resolution gets a nice stun off with his rebound. Looks like Y is mega dead as Faith Beyond coming from the low ground with that exorcism. Jin Q following out behind, but the Static Storm inside that kinetic field. They're going to try to focus down the DP, but she's healing so much. Now Resolution, he is getting low. The Urn Charge applied. One last little damage proc there from the exorcism, and Faith Beyond gets credit for that.
The Urn as well will now be turned into a Vessel. So this time around, LGD with the healing reduction.
Nothing to say. He's going to do a nice job at dodging, but it doesn't matter. Crystallis still has the damage. Boundless Strike connects on the two as Ame has come to play, but there is the glimpse, and that's going to reset things. So despite losing there, I mean, what do you want to even call Marcy? It is the position 3 technically.
Yeah.
They do get the position 2 Zeus.
I mean, at this point, both Marcy and Dawn are kind of position 3.5 when you look at the net worth. So.
I mean, we've seen a lot of games in the past where Secret kind of rely on Nisha to absolutely take over, and I want to say of all the people that is good at carrying on their back, he is probably #1 on my list if I had to make one. As Zayat's
nice
the horsey, very good.
Yep.
But Ame is there.
That's a longer horsey.
Yeah, that's
Primal
a monkey.
Spring.
Monkey over horse apparently. And Zayat's will proc down.
That was almost the name of your 2 cats.
That's right. Thank you, Cinder.
You're welcome. 1% of the audience got that. That's fine.
God, you're really great to work with.
What is it your cats are called? It's Monkey. Bucket. It's Bucket, right?
That's right. Bucket and Pookie. Thank you.
What name's their cat? Bucket. All right, never mind. Don't talk about my dog's name, okay? We're good.
Onion.
Yeah, that's not what his name is.
It basically is. As Nisha makes his way to the top lane with Resolution's help, and then looking to get the trade a little bit late here, but I doubt LGD will try to defend, just using the fortification. Bloodstone, not too far away for Nisha, just the recipe away, I believe.
Yeah, the big difference between this game and the last one is they have the Vessel, right? So there is a path to killing Lesh for Faith Beyond here on the DP. And they also have more burst in general. Last game they had more like sustained damage with the Lone Druid, etc. But this time you have the Zeus, you have Monkey King with some decent burst, DP with the high damage at this point in time.
Yeah, but this mid-tier 1, kind of a big deal. You got to be careful of that Thunderbolt if you're Zayats for that vision. Sentry there as well. They're going to spot him. They're going to try to burst him down. Thunder God's Wrath is there as well. Looks like Puppy's going to survive. His Solar Guardian coming in now. They're going to focus all their efforts onto this Lich, and the Zeus dies as well, so nothing to say. Takes a fall. This is going to be a third kill in this engagement, all for Secret, and even a buyback coming out.
They set that up so well. The Nyx does not get caught running into the Sentry, eats the DP silence, resets, and just goes back in. And again, I think in this game, nothing to say with the 3 deaths on Zeus. It's just getting caught a bit too much. Secret with a big trade there. Sure, you lose your mid tower, but you take 1 right back. You find 3 kills and a buyback out of the Lich. So that's huge, and LGD...
I will say, this time around, Secret's Roche lineup is far better in terms of just taking it.
Yeah, Marcy is very good at it.
Yeah, Marcy on top of... I mean, we saw the Diabolic... I mean, the same combo, I guess, from last time, but Either way, something they can actually not have to rely on LGD to do 3/4 of the damage before taking.
Yeah,
if they want.
You put the sidekick on Dawnbreaker with Deso, and then you use your ult, and those two heroes together can probably kill Roche in like 20 seconds, just the two of them. So definitely
spotting
much better.
some things out here. We have a glimpse. Faith Beyond is out of there. Haste Rune does spawn as Puppey's gonna take the brunt here. Boundless Strike, but he turns into a little pig. A couple more right clicks will do it. So support down for Secret. As LGD looking for more.
It's all 5 LGD heroes killing a 5 Disruptor, though. That does not feel that great. And this is one of the strengths that you have as Secret's lineup, is that you can play this Dawnbreaker in a side lane and push out the waves and feel somewhat safe, and obviously connect with your ult when it's available. On the other side, Marcy, also a kind of tricky hero for LGD's heroes to kill, so you need to rotate the right amount of numbers. They will do a big move here once again. This time as 4, though. Trying to not break the smoke onto the Nyx. This would be a huge pick if they found Nisha, but reading this like a book and not getting caught. Getting away with that ward.
He might be the one that suffers, but again, it's going to be a support potentially. Gets off the spike carapace though. Exorcism is popped. Does that mean they want to try to go for a Roach? They're trying to take a fight. Faith Beyond finding Chrysalis, slowing him down to Spirit Siphon, but the kinetic field blocks him off. And that might be all PSG LGD get, and that's a big cooldown that they have to take into account now.
Oh, they might even lose their Tiny too.
Earth Hammer's there as well. Down goes Tiny. Faith Beyond. He's here as well, but the Exorcism is running out. Resolution forced to fight despite the Spirit being applied to him.
Oh my God.
Big Lich ult onto 2, and PSG LGD, despite being down in numbers at the start, end up taking this fight in space 3-for-1, and Nisha left along with Zayats here in the top lane.
Oh, they got insane value out of DP in that fight. So much damage, so much healing, and like you said, the Chain Cross doing tons of work as well. And it honestly, that looked like a really good counterplay from Secret jumping on the Tiny, but I think Resolution maybe bit over a little bit more than he could chew there. I think they have the kill without the rebound, and he doesn't need to go in. And that did set them up
placed
for a
the
return.
sentry there. He's going to get the toss off, and that means Secret probably will back out here. Another ward. The ward battles have come in.
Yep.
Looks like Secret to get a bit of that engagement. There's nothing to say now with the Arcane Rune. That's a big one.
So we're going to
another
see
replay here.
Yeah.
I thought this fight was
So this is really good, this glimpse that comes out here. So they're going to glimpse back Jin-Q into a Lesh stun. And I think this is a kill without Marcy connecting here. And now Resso is out of position. Chain Cross starts bouncing. He carries that one. Wait, didn't it continue? Oh,
right here.
It was on the creep camp above. I was like, where did it go? And then it connected back down to Puppey and Crystals. All right, that's just flat out really unfortunate, because it looked like they carried it away and it was gone. I think Secret were caught off guard by that Chain Cross returning to the fight and actually just giving LGD a little bit of a freebie there. Sometimes the creeps are not neutral. That was dire creeps.
Indeed. Well, 1K lead for PSG LGD as Faith Beyond working on a BKB. And we've already seen the Spirit Vessel being applied. Very strong item. Zayats continuing on with the Vendetta. He is going to be seen. Why? He's going to take the Vendetta damage to start, but like you said, the silence coming out. Hammer. Chrysalis wants to finish the job, and he will. They find the support.
Making progress toward that Deso. He did go for the shard first. I think that's a good choice in this game as Dawn. You're up against too many problems that prevent you from using Starbreaker, so... And it feels bad to rush BKB. So getting this as a kind of a gapping item for your damage item is solid here. Still have to be very careful when you're out of Starbreaker, though. I think this is, once again, a lineup that LGD are running that are very, very good at punishing melee heroes. So... And we've seen that in the previous fight, right? If you're just a little bit out of position on the Dawn or on the Marcy, the punishment is pretty severe. So maybe Secret are going to try to slow this down until they have Resso's BKB. I think that would give them a lot of more options to play around with, because I think he's not going to die during that, realistically speaking, unless he's standing in like a Monkey King ult and just tanking that up. Nobody else is doing anything to him in BKB. I don't think the Exorcism Ghosts are really a concern when you have Sidekick plus your ult running. True. You're easily going to out-heal that.
Still about 1,000 away from finishing that, so a couple minutes at least. I mean, from LGD's side, they have a lineup that can take Roche pretty fast with the Exo, but it requires pretty big cooldown, and you will likely want to pick off beforehand.
They're going to look for the said pick off. Wonder if they will try to get this as a level 12 gap for Faith Beyond to then go Roche. Tiny close to dagger, by the way. ZQ went phase boots and has just been quietly farming in the top lane for the last
Smoke
4 or 5 waves.
LGD, Avalanche clips Resolution, tossed back into the Sinister Gaze, but Nisha's coming with the Solar Guardian help as well. Resolution ticking out very slowly. Looks like he will fall. No, actually gets off the stun just in time with his Unleash, dispels the Urn Charge, and Jin Q looks like he's going to fall as the Crystallis double kill comes out, but finally Resolution does fall. So a little bit of a backwards engagement, but I think Secret will be okay with this. 2 for 1.
I wonder if we get that in a replay. I wonder if ZQ actually needed to go for that. Because what he did, he gave Resso something to hit with his lifesteal. Obviously, Unleash would not have been able to remove that Vessel charge. It doesn't do that anymore unless you have, I believe it's the Shard, right? Where you get the dispel.
Oh, the hell
So, or sorry, not the Shard, the Scepter. So, yeah. That got a lot better for Secret than it looked like it would. And again, that counter initiation potential with the Dawn really coming into play there to find a return. So we're going to see the replay here. So look, this is a really good initiation from ZQ into the Silence. Just good execution overall. I think he ticks down to this Vessel, but now ZQ is going to walk in and give him lifesteal. And he will outlast this for so long. And the thing about this is, sure, Jin-Q just kill him in the end, right? But this means Tiny is not participating in the side fight, where that Avalanche could have made a huge difference. Resso all smiles.
No, I'm not sure, but the toss, I think it was bringing him closer, but the Sinister Gaze actually stopped him.
Yeah, it stopped him midair, yeah.
We're going to see a fight here. Faith Beyond doing a lot of damage, healing with the Spirit Siphon. Here comes the Wukong's command from Ame, trying to focus down Nisha. It's not the Bloodstone, but will that be enough? Spirit Siphon's still there. That's 2 for nothing. PSG LGD winning this fight, and now another Avalanche. GQ looking for a target to toss. Crystallis can't get to the low ground, though. Has to walk away the old-fashioned way. Gets off the Starbreaker. Really connects onto Ame. Silence to follow. But it looks like this is going to be the death of the position one for Secret as PSG LGD win a big fight here in the mid-game.
Huge for them. Monkey King unlocked. He gets involved with that BKB and finds the kill on the big game on the other side. The Lash has the Bloodstone and Yules, but no BKB, and does just end up getting kind of, I wouldn't even say he got chain stun, but just like a little bit here and there. It just builds up enough time for Ame to finish the job in the end with a Frost Shield slow. Does really benefit Monkey King quite a lot for these chasing sequences. And now all of a sudden, I mean, Secret just had a pretty good engaged top where they get that trade. Now 5k behind. Just look at that Wukong's command, beautifully placed. Nisha in a really awkward position in the center of it. Almost escaped, but not quite. And I feel like when the Leshrac dies, Secret's teamfight just is over, right? Like, it just falls so incredibly flat, not just because of the way their lineup is structured, but because of how much of the net worth they're sitting on is on this hero. He just really has to be protected at all costs and get his stuff out. And that time, Nisha does get picked off and just snowballs the fight in LGD's favor, no problem.
Secret smoking up to the enemy jungle. Faith Beyond. They see him
far out.
Yep. Maneuvers himself to the other side. Might have missed out on the vision there. No, they saw him. Resolution with a nice rebound. Here comes the Solar Guardian as well, but the Avalanche mitigating a lot of this right now as Crystallis focusing down Jin Q for the time being as Faith Beyond looks to be dead. Just one more right click to go. So nice pick off for Secret. Ame next to his tier 2 tower has to pop the BKB. Wukong's command to follow. Now there's no physical damage go through this with that BKB activated, but they can try to continue on here once the BKB ends up running out. Wise going to take the brunt of the damage now from the Starbreaker. So Secret getting everything they want. Ame the only one left in this area. Looks like he does get away safely. That would have been just a disaster for PSG LGD, but still, Secret going to be extremely happy with what happened here.
That looked like a really ambitious dive, but it works out very well. I don't think LGD were remotely ready for this to happen. Like the way their DP gets jumped. I think the just snap reaction there from Jin-Q on the Tiny was really impressive. He finds the blink into a good Avalanche, but did not buy enough space. No BKB yet on the DP. Couldn't get away from a lot of the damage and then gets run down by Resso. And they found, I believe they cut the trees of Ame as well. I think he took the long stun there. I believe we're going to see that potentially in the replay. So this is not a common attack angle here that Secret are going for with their lineup, right? So Jin-Q, notice that really quick blink Avalanche, really good job there. But Faith Beyond, that's that Resso BKB coming into play, how much that can do. Does finish off that kill. And on the left side, yeah, Ame gets cut out of the trees there. Stunned for a really long time. Fortunately for him, has BKB ult, or he would have died too. And this could have been tragic for LGD. Now it's only bad. Most of their lead evaporating there.
Yeah, pretty damn even game now as a result of that fight. Have yet to see the first Roche, by the way. think that's probably going to be the next thing on the menu for both sides if they can get to that. Faith Beyond, he is about to pick up his BKB. That is going to be pretty massive.
That's huge, and it's worth noting as well what Ame went for. I don't think we've highlighted the Mage Slayer, but obviously an amazing item against Lash, right? I think it's part of the reason that Ame doesn't die in that situation when he gets cut out of the trees. Having that magic resistance really helps, and obviously when you do hit the Lash, getting that magic damage reduction as well. But that said, Nisha popping, or rather revealing a BKB in the coming fight could become massive for Secret here.
LGD in the pit. Exorcism already popped.
Zayat
is going to spot it. The Spike Carapace comes out, double impale. Tiny's just dead right off the bat. And now the focus is on Ame. He goes down to the post though, but no buyback for the Monkey King as Y. He's going to get chased now by Nisha. And a huge fight for Secret. We'll see if they can go into the pit and get this Roche, but the toss back from Jin Q. Avalanche is there as well. Resolution gets deleted, so maybe not with the numbers. Buyback now into the Lich. Puppey attempting to TP out. He'll be fine.
Pretty damn impressive that LGD managed to salvage that. Like, consider how that fight began. They sent in the 4 Nyx, they immediately killed the enemy carry, as well as the Lich, and it still turns out somewhat even in the end. It is big, though, that the Exorcism was expended and the BKB for Faith Beyond. Of course, that's a really crucial moment there that LGD could have converted into something big, but I guess at the very least for them with how that started, things could have gone way worse. So look at time. I mean, also kind of a blunder. Where's the Sentry?
That's true.
You're playing against Nyx and you're taking Roche. This is, I would say for LGD, maybe a little bit disappointing considering the level this team usually plays at. Just a little bit cocky, really going for that without putting a Sentry Ward down in that area to protect them from this potential move. And I think it got placed now, so they do have it for the next Roche fight. It is ready against Zayats, but that definitely did catch them off guard there. Like, imagine that exact situation with the Sentry. I actually think they just get the Roche.
Yeah, we've got another toss back. This time it's onto Puppey. It's going to be canceled a bit here. That's the Starbreaker, so it's a 1-for-1 on the supports. I mean, Exo's still down for a minute. Not sure if Secret will have time to try to take advantage, as we're going to see a blink now onto Nisha.
That's a dieback on GQ, by the way.
That's true, a full minute.
And Secret are getting insane value out of Zayats on the Nyx, just like in the first game. I think it's really, the Carapace is causing issues. You see the Tiny there wanting to go in and just gets countered very quickly. Zayats in the right place at the right time a lot in these games.
And Resolution, I believe the Basher is on the way, so
that's
huge. He will do a lot of damage in
it gives him the possibility of preventing Monkey King from playing the game, right?
Oh, wow.
If you do get the right setup without Wukong's command down, Marcy can beat Monkey fight straight up. This is huge for Secret though. Don't think, I mean, do LGD even try this?
Exo is up in 5.
It's
Faith
too late.
Beyond, yeah, looks like it's too late.
Awesome play call here from Secret to go for this. They know Tiny has no buyback.
Oh, they're going to try to jump Faith Beyond. Frost Shield's going to keep him healthy for a little longer. Pops the BKB. Do they have the physical damage to go through? But Monkey King with the balance strike. Ame comes to play. Bash applied to Resolution now, but the rebound onto the other side of the river. He'll be fine, but Nisha looks like he wants to try to fight. Gets off the Yule. Faith Beyond now on the outskirts of this fight. That is a dead Lash, but that is just the Aegis. Exorcism still going. Zayats gets the impale onto 1, but now they're trying to turn this around onto the Monkey King. There's the Starbreaker from Chrysalis, and that is the death of Ame. 50 seconds on the deck. And PSG LGD, they get the Aegis technically out of the hands of Secret, but it does cost them.
Yeah, it's almost a repeat of the previous moment, right? Where a bad start gets turned into something salvageable for LGD. Like, it's not great by any means to lose the Roche there, but as you said, they do get rid of the Aegis. And I mean, not a spell we hype up a lot in general, but Frost Shield just coming up huge in this fight for keeping Faith Beyond alive here, as he does get jumped there. So you see the instant Frost Shield here makes the difference. If he dies there, this is just all over. Gets the BKB off, gets the Siphons running. Awesome 3-man stun coming in from Ame from the tree line there with that Boundless. And Resso fortunate enough to have a good spell to get out
Every time I saw, we're going to see the Avatars come out onto Puppey. Is it going to be punished though? Crystals comes in with the hammer. Starbreaker's there as well, and Jin Q dies. 45 seconds of no Tony. And Y? Going to be spotted out. The glimpse back. And it looks like Y will be next. So 2 supports down in favor of Secret.
Yeah. Basher on both sides. You pointed out the Marcy one, now we have one on the Monkey King as well. So really crucial item for potentially locking down the Lesh or the Marcy to keep them in that arena. As we've seen, Resso just resets a lot of the time, just jumps away on the Nyx most of the time. And maybe with this Basher, Ame can keep them a little bit more in place. Eyeing up a Skadi next for more healing reduction against the Lash. And, you know, that reliable slow to once again stick.
Nothing to say. Impale is there. The stun from Resolution with the Basher as well. Nothing to say. Has to use BKB. But the glimpse back, they're going to find the support. No, Faith Beyond pops the BKB as well. But this is both in defensive measures as Resolution finds the distance because he's playing Marcy. And down goes Nothing to Say. 3K lead now for Secret. And Nisha working on the Shivas next. Is going to get outpost control in the PSG LGD jungle. Ame looking for the support, but Zayats is there to try to counteract this. Solar Guardian coming in as well. Ame pops the BKB along with Chrysalis, but Starbreaker deletes Y from the face of the map, and now they're inside Wukong's command.
No bash.
Have to get the hell out of there as Resolution looks like he's going to live. Uses the rebound to get a little bit extra distance. Zayats and company now focusing down Faith Beyond on the Death Prophet. Another valuable kill and another valuable fight for Secret.
Yeah, they're going to turn this into mid-tier 2 as well, so yeah, huge that they managed to find the fight with Zeus dead, right? It's just, it's a lot easier for Secret to take this fight when they just get the initiation and don't have to worry too much about that counterplay, so this looks pretty good, but
it does.
They just have so quick reactions on the Dawn and the Nyx. Again, this pairing that Secret have been running in Game 1 and Game 2 now is really paying off, and crucial for Resto that he doesn't get bashed. Any bash in that Monkey King arena, he's dead. So a little bit of luck on his side as well there to get out. And all of a sudden, man, this game has swung around in a big way. I feel like it's 5 minutes ago that LGD were ahead by 5K, and now they're down by 8. It goes fast sometimes in Dota when you win these big fights, and Secret, probably with this advantage that they have right now, if they can keep their cool and keep building up their Lesh, the next Roche, you would imagine, could go their way, and that one could open up for high ground. Like you pointed out in the last game, LGD is a team that plays really, really well from behind, one of the best in the world at that. And they will try just that immediately now. No DP ults. They're actually going for a 5-man offensive smoke with Faith Beyond with best ability. I mean, it's debatable. Maybe Spirit Siphon is his best ability, but, you know.
True.
Puppy. If they want him, he's dead. They do.
Okay, Avatar. Zayats wants to come in, though. They've lost Puppy already. He does have the buyback available. His Thunder God's Wrath is there. Looks like Zayats is going to barely limp away, but no, Nothing to Say there to finish him off. Now, Resolution, he's taking so much damage. The rebound onto the other side of the map again. Rezo is fine. 70 seconds of no Nyx. Must have been a dieback technically.
Puppy.
Static Storm. Okay. Enough to take out Jin Q. Very cocky play from Puppy, but it kind of works out. But again, if they get the kill, this will technically be a dieback for him. Boundless Strike, and it looks like it will be just that. But there's no Roche to get.
There's that Glimpse buff. That's not a kill without the damage.
That is a good point.
He killed Tiny with Glimpse there, so yeah, it's not great to get a dieback just to kill off Jin Q. I mean, his net worth in this game is not particularly impressive on that. Tiny has had a lot of deaths in these fights, 2 and 8 currently on him. And it gives more than anything for LGD. They made a smoke without EXO. They finally win a fight, and they get a little bit of breathing room, which I think is crucial. You're closing in on some pretty big moments. Monkey King is not too far from level 20. Faith Beyond is close to level 18 as well. Nothing to Say also not that far from 20. And you look over at the Secret heroes, Nisha obviously with level 22, well ahead on that front, having that strong talent on 20. And Rezo actually breaks his 18 now as well, so important to look out for these key levels coming both sides' way. I believe Nisha is level 17. What the hell? Remember his start?
Yes. That's level 2 at like 7.5 minutes.
That's a good recovery. Oh, gets the Carapace.
Very good initiation, but Jin Q is there with the Avalanche. Will it be enough? No. Nothing to Say goes down to another member of Secret. That Starbreaker has been deleting heroes, and of course you've said it time and time again. Zayats has been setting up every single initiation. And the fact that they can do it across the map with a hero like Dawnbreaker is insane.
It's just a great read that he thinks Zeus is going to go there and use Heart Lightning, right? So he can get that Carapace stun off, and then they use that immediately to chain. Just very, very nicely played by Secret. Pretty much perfect layering of the stuns, too. Just a little bit of mistake there. Maybe you get BKB off and jump away on the Zeus, but none of that out of the way of Secret, so yeah, they've really had his number this game. I mean, it's not like it's an awful scoreline to be 9, 5, and 8 on Zeus, but it just feels like the Carapace has been his big bane this game. Yeah. So many times getting caught off by this Nyx that he did choose to pick it into, which is worth pointing out. Like, they picked Zeus knowing that Nyx was in the game, and it is a double-edged matchup, right? Zeus also has the obviously the True Sight coming out from Lightning Bolt can be handy, and the ult to find the Nyx, but if he makes the first move...
And that hasn't really come into play. I think I've
Not
seen
really.
one time that it's actually come into play in this game.
Zayas has been playing an outstanding series.
Absolutely. This is one of the greatest Nyx performances I've seen in a long time. This hero was kind of just not in play from, I want to say, like previous TIs. It feels like it's just fallen off the map, but this year it's kind of come back with a vengeance.
Yep.
As Nisha now has his Shivas, and his net worth separation between 1 and 2 is absurd. 7K, my goodness.
Yep.
He's not afraid to go to the high ground as the rest of Secret are going to smoke up.
LGD would love to not fight for the next 300 golden army. Just get that Scotty. It's a really big game changer for them to get that unlocking. It's going to help them so much against the Lesh as long as he gets to play the fight on the MK. Look how much they're covering him. It's like...
Resolution with the double damage, by the way. Nothing to say is dead. And they're stun onto several heroes. Now 2 dead for LGD to just start out the fight. Another Starbreaker, but now Crystallis and company outside the Wukong's command. The glimpse back onto Faith Beyond, and he is dead. Triple kill for Resolution. There are all buybacks available for LGD, so Secret have to be a bit careful with this. And why? He's going to die inside his own base. He's the one lone member of LGD without the buyback at the moment. So 12K lead for Secret. Roche is available, and we'll see if they try to go for that before trying to push high ground.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did they set up that fight with a Reso jump? Was he just jumped on the Zeus, right?
His rebound, I don't know about the initial one.
I think he blinked with ult on and just instantly bashed the Zeus and basically killed him 100-0 with a DD. I think that's what happened, right? I was like, okay, he just disappeared on the Zeus. He has no armor. Actually, he has negative armor because he's the Nether Shawl.
That's true.
We're going to see the replay. Okay, this is the tail end of it. I believe it was Reso setting it up himself that time, but either way, just it's extremely explosive, the Secret lineup, when they get the jump. You have to be so quick as LGD to counteract it with Glimmer Cape, with Frost Shield, or the hero just disappears.
Yeah.
One of Marcy's biggest strengths in Pro Dota is that the damage comes out so quickly that it's almost inhuman to react to it in key moments. Right there, the Zeus just didn't get to play. Nothing to say. Part of me feels like you should buy Aeon Disc here. I think going Octarine is maybe, like, it's a glass half full kind of, or glass half empty kind of approach. Like, how are you thinking about this? Is it, okay, I'm not going to get caught and I will have maximum impact, or is it, all right, I kind of have to cover my bases? It doesn't feel good to buy BKB and Disc, but I mean, look at how the fights are going, right?
I think technically, if you think you're going to survive, that's considered glass half full.
Yeah. But that's not really what's happening. So I think that's what I'm saying. The Octarine is a glass half full approach, but that's not what's been happening, right? So I think you have to...
Why?
Out. No, he's toast.
We're going to see him unleash, and a couple right clicks from Resolution.
Okay.
Will do the job. He has a Crystallis right now, not his teammate. And he's actually pretty well into the data list, so I think just a recipe away essentially from finishing that. Obviously, buyback is going to be kind of paramount for every Secret, or every hero in this game at this stage. 17K lead now for Secret. Aegis advantage, we didn't talk about the shard, but it was taken by Nisha, which, one of those weird shards, obviously very powerful, the Splitters being, I mean, a lot of time we think about like high ground defense, but when you're going high ground yourself, it's actually not too shabby as well. Avalanche here, Wukong's command expended. Is it just for Puppy, though? Looks like it is for now, as Nisha, he's perfectly fine to try to fight this out on the other side of the Wukong's command. Here comes a Solar Guardian as well. Faith Beyond is dead. Let the toss back onto Nisha, but now the Wukong's command is down. The BKB finally activate for Ami. He gets a big Boundless Strike. A lot of damage coming out from Nothing to Say. So they get the 2 supports in the end, but now Nothing to Say, he's the one getting pursued by Nisha. Split Earth connects. Pulse Nova continuing to go in again. The Aegis still intact for Secret. Frost Shield not going to mitigate any of that magic damage, and the Starbreaker is enough. Another death for Nothing to Say, and 2 cores dead for LGD with no buybacks.
Yeah, he actually finally got to play a fight on the Zeus, so we got to see something come out of him in the way of damage there. But again, Secret just pouncing so strongly in these fights now. And that one felt like a net worth lead win, right? If they don't have a big advantage here, this fight is going to go LGD's way. But Secret have built themselves such a fundamental lead now that they can even make a couple of mistakes here or there if necessary, but they're not really doing that. It still feels very, very clean. I love the confidence from Nisha too. I mean, sure, he has Aegis. I think he would have done that anyway, honestly. He's like, oh, Wukong's command is down and I'm not in it. I'm invincible. I can do whatever I want. And he just runs outside it and starts chasing heroes down. Now looking for the first lane of barracks here. Overwhelming Blink obviously will make it very easy for him to, first of all, be tanky and also set up his own stun.
Now Nisha, he's level 25.
Toss back.
Toss back. This is something you have to be a little bit careful with. He pops the BKB, and Jin Q is punished really hard. Split is going to not connect thanks to BKB from Faith Beyond. That's the buyback now into Jin Q. They have to be careful because Nothing to Say is now available to fight. They're going to try to turn this around as Resolution jumps in with his BKB, focusing down Ame, but the Wukong's command can give him so much armor as Resolution gets destroyed. 80 seconds of no mercy. Another pulse for Secret as PSG LGD showing some life here. They find 3 kills with no reciprocation.
Toss MVP.
What is their Abrasive doing down there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe someone's going to...
all right, Jin Q deletes it. Very nice.
Would have been funny if that gave someone buyback, but not the case. Yeah, Toss is everything there. They can't get Nisha into a bad position in any other way. And you saw, he was expecting the play too. He was like, I'm going to get tossed here, I'm going to BKB, I'm going to kill Tiny, which is what they did. But it set up enough time for LGD to connect, and maybe his teammates a little bit too eager to help here. I think he's actually fine.
Yeah, he's definitely.
And he can reset out of this. With Rezo getting that kill on the Tiny, Secret can full disengage here, but they kind of do get baited in again. I think this jump from Rezo is really putting him in an awkward spot where Monkey King can finally isolate him. And there's a bash, and that's the kill.
Yeah, and using the rebound offensively means you have no escape mechanism.
Exactly. I think Secret could have actually got a pretty big win there by just
disengaging once the exit was popped.
Yeah, trading their Aegis away for the Tiny buyback and then getting out.
So LGD winning a very important fight, and the Aegis was never used, so it's going to expire on its own accord here in 20 seconds. Question is, what is the next item for Nisha? He has the Overwhelming Blink.
Wind Waker queued up.
Okay.
I guess it's really nice to save his teammates out of Wukong's, right? He can get Rezo out of trouble. He's probably the primary hero that will be in jeopardized positions. Hex is also something he is looking at.
I mean, the problem with using on a teammate, you can't move it, right? It only moves on yourself. You can't really get out of Wukong, so it's just literally
it's just buying time is just
an extra couple seconds.
Yeah, it makes a pretty big difference, but.
Nisha still with a ridiculous net worth lead right now. But at what point, is there a point that Lesh falls off at all? I mean, the Diabolic Edict explosion, we didn't really talk about the 25 town. That is something you just can't let him get close to buildings.
I mean, I guess something Nisha doesn't have is a refresher. If you want to look at it from that perspective, like how do you solve the hero? If he doesn't have Aegis and doesn't have refresher, he is susceptible when BKB runs out. Zeus has a lot of damage. You have no magic resistance. I guess that's kind of untrue. You have Cloak of Flame, so a little bit, but it's not that much. And if you get caught by a Scotty Trail from Monkey...
of refresher, Ame does have one.
Has it? Yep.
And they are smoked up.
Even after the nerfs, you can easily afford this. If you go Scotty, it's something, especially we've seen Faceless Voids in the past go for as a build-up to refresh.
He's going to be the one that gets popped here, but pops the BKB very early. Gets off the Slitter, trying to play around it, but the Jingo's about to proc here as well. The Wukong's command is there, and Nisha has to use the ult on himself. But he's likely just going to be left alone, and he's going to be brought down. A huge kill for LGD. There are buybacks for both remaining members here from Secret.
You really have to be on your toes against this team. Like, you have a big lead, sure, but this is the one thing that can't happen for Secret is that they find Lesh without support. Like, if anyone else is in that line of fire, it's not that bad. Like, you could have lost a Nyx there, you could have lost a Marcy, you could have lost a Disruptor, but Nisha cannot get out once he gets slowed down by that Scotty. He has no... I think that's probably why he is considering this Wind Waker, is he needs it for himself. He has to have some sort of way of repositioning and buying time and getting out.
That's fair.
And with the BKB expended, you see it afterwards. He's just getting chain locked until he dies. Protection just wasn't there. That's a big dent in Secret's lead. That was about 6k net worth from 2 kills in a tower. So it is still well within reach for LGD to solve this.
I mean, 11k at this stage is really not that. I mean, it's literally on Nisha, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much his net worth lead, so yeah, that's true.
One thing I do want to mention, we're a bit far, it's 2k away, but Puppey, Aghanim Scepter, halfway there, that is something that can just win the game, essentially.
Yeah, he has some good setup, right? He has the Nyx. Oh, speaking of.
Yep, Solar Guardians there. Looks like Jin Q will die. 90 seconds of no Tiny here.
Never safe pushing a side lane against these two.
And a quick TP's out. Ame not going to pursue any further.
They're immediately going again. It's like, oh, we get the kill, they TP back, now they smoke and look for another move. So, quick plays here from Team Secret. Lesh obviously will be able to connect here with Travels if they find a move on the side lane near bot, but nobody is showing. From LGD wisely, staying tight-knit here. It is historically and just generally the way to handle Nyx is to not split up too much, especially if he has a global presence, right? A classic combination is Nyx Invoker. You get the stun combo into Sunstrike, and that's kills. If you play tight like this with Sentry Wards, it's a lot harder for Zayas to find the impact.
Very synced up on those Shivas there. Faith Beyond versus Nisha, but the BKB prevents the glimpse from being used.
Rezo's thinking. Oh,
he's going in. He gets the bash to start things out, and Faith Beyond is evaporated here. And now they're going to get the Lich on top of it. Has to buy back. And we can see that Roche is available. I'm not sure if they're aware. And this is the one with the Aghanim Scepter, which gives you that 6k net worth injection, essentially.
Dude, that's so dirty. Like, think of how tanky the Death Crop is. 4k health with a Shiva.
You have to get Eon Disc.
Rezo literally just blinked in and killed him in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Daedalus, Unleash.
And I think when the Tiny is dead, that is their combo breaker, right? That's the thing that's been kind of like the Avalanche or the tossback that's get the fear. When he's dead, I don't think there's anything they need to fear when going in. And this is going to be another Roche for Secret. And this is going to be Nihilism, I would assume, onto Nisha. We'll see who ends up taking the Aghanim Scepter.
Holding it on
Nyx, okay.
He's not used it, though.
Puppy's 800 from finishing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
not consumed it. I mean,
I guess they're debating what to do, right?
Yeah, it's actually a tough decision. Nyx's Ags is incredibly good. The question is, how much value are you going to get on Nihilism? I mean, it's really good as well.
Yeah, it's not the best Nihilism game, though, right? It's good against Monkey King, but I don't know. Maybe they're just never going to use it. I wonder what the win rate is of Aghanim's Blessing unconsumed. It's got to be pretty high.
Great stat, yeah, I'm sure. Get somebody working on that one. Very important.
He's literally, it is inflating his net worth right now. So he's literally just walking around with higher net worth.
No,
game.
It doesn't inflate until you consume it. Okay, he just consumed it.
It did. His net worth was the same.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe
He was carrying around 6k gold. All right, he finally uses it.
All right, so now you get a buff to every skill and burrow. You become a lurker. Hopefully that's not trademark or I might get fired here. So Secret, PSG, LGD, 25k lead for Secret, but it doesn't, sometimes it hasn't really felt like that based on LGD just making brilliant moves. But that last one really hurt.
It did, and they hit a huge breaking point here. They get 25 on Dawnbreaker. This is such an it is one of the best talents in the whole game, in my opinion. Just so strong to get a second free Starbreaker. You have the BKB death, so you're guaranteed to get 2 of them off. You're playing against 1 Monkey King Basher. It's the only counter that the enemy team has to your Starbreakers going off, so Chrysalis will do massive damage, and as we've seen time and time again in this game, plenty of setup where that comes from his teammates. Both Rezo and Zayas will be happy to just jump in and give him 2 Starbreakers to get a key kill.
And not only that, I mean, the other side, we have Heart on Faith Beyond, very big item, but the Aghanim Scepter was officially purchased now by Puppy, so
you know what
feuding of items.
They don't have a Force Step.
And on PSG?
Yeah, that feels like an oversight to not have that item, right? I know you're playing against Glimpse, but you need some sort of way of getting out of Starbreaker, of getting out of... away from
and Tail connects, and they're going to jump in. Solar Guardian coming in at the end. It looks like Faith Beyond might drop inside the Wukong's command, and they have to just try to reset. Zayas is going to live thanks to the Eon Disc and just burrow his way back to full HP. The Jin Q is dead as well without buyback available. Now they just wait out the Wukongs.
Oh, he got the stun
he's going to go in again with Chrysalis' Starbreaker, decimating time and time again. But there's Ame's Refresher, Wukong's command to fall. Chrysalis eats the cheese, tries to get force step, but not going to live through this engagement. They did find Nisha, okay. Gets off the Yule, but instantly canceled.
Dude,
that was the neutralizer.
It's actually doing work.
But they got the tower, but nothing more.
Well, they got a Zeus buyback too.
All right, he has Wind Waker, like you said. That was the Stormcraft, so he has 2 ways to dispel.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a nullifier or something, just canceling it out, but just the baby Yules. And Secret continuing to pursue. Fortification is popped, and Split Earths aplenty being applied. And now they know that there's no Wukong's command. Refresher already used on Ame. Did he also pop BKB? No. So he has his second BKB now.
This is just not a safe push whatsoever with DP and especially Tiny respawning. I really like from Secret that they disengage here and don't try to get those barracks. I think the risk reward just isn't favoring you nearly enough. Go back, play the map, get your spells ready, get your heroes back in play, and try to find another pick outside the base and use that to get the racks instead. So, yeah. I mean, LGD, they do hold on, but it feels like it's expensive every single time. This time, getting that Zeus buyback out, he doesn't have disc, and he's still not considering it. He's eyeing up the Hex. Okay, finally, he changed his mind. So will take the defensive route here to ensure that he can at least stay alive for a moment. Faith Beyond!
Uh-oh. Inside the Static Storm. Remember, he can't use any items inside of it, and he's dead. 90 seconds of no death profit. Ame trying to get some revenge, but Resolution ends up using Rebound on the other side. Only one inside Wukong's command right now, but 3 dead for PSG LGD. And now Ame looks to be next. The Starbreaker is coming just for him. Specialty from Secret. He has to buy back instantly. Now Resolution with the dispose, onto nothing to say, has to pop the BKB himself, but this looks like it might be the beginning of the end for LGD in this upper bracket. Rebound not proc there, but again, Chrysalis with the Starbreaker. And this is going to be several sets of racks, if not potentially GG.
Faith Beyond just disappears. It's like LGD want to access this high ground. They're like, what hero can we send in first that can possibly survive? And he should be the choice, right? You have Heart, Shiva, BKB. He dies before he gets BKB off. He literally just gets killed 100-0. Even with Lich's protection, it wasn't enough.
Oh, Zayats finds Ame. This is going to be a dieback for him potentially, and it will. Double Starbreaker. GG is called, and Secret 2-0 PSG LGD, sending them to the lower bracket, and they're going to face off against Thunder Predator. My goodness, I don't think anybody was expecting that potential matchup in the upper bracket, but wow, what a series from Secret.
Yeah, my prediction so far, great. 0 out of 2 in the bracket, so that's, yeah, what a, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a shocker. I don't feel like LGD going into today was like a massive favorite, especially when you saw on the group stage. Secret's been playing some really solid Dota, but I love the strategy they brought to the table today. I think the way they combined their Nyx Dawnbreaker really stifled LGD's moves that they wanted to make, and yeah, I'm just really impressed with Secret today. So going to be an interesting match in the upper bracket next.
Cyborg Matt very happy. Love that guy. One of the best people in Dota for sure. But Jenkins not so much. Let's go to him and the rest of the great panel we have over in Norway.
It's a good year. Welcome back to the International. I'm your host, James Too Good Harding, and I'm sorry I'm not Shiva. We've had problems with, well, no, wait, wrong time. We're getting ready to go into talking about the next game soon. My adrenaline is killing me. I haven't been on camera for 8 years since I hosted the International, and I'm very excited to be back. If you wonder where I was, it was low prio. Not sure who reported me, but I'm here now, and we're going to be introducing our draft soon with the next game. But first, we're going to go and introduce the panel. Oh my God, guys. I can't believe I'm back. I'm so...
Welcome back.
But introducing you in an order of popularity, undisclosed, next to me, T Governor, welcome to the panel. Welcome to TI. How are you?
It's great. It's so good to be back at TI. The excitement that previous game, I don't know. It's same as you. It's just like, woo!
Yeah, I mean, that game was amazing. Having to walk on and do a little bit, even though it was a short bit, I was like, oh my God, am I actually here? And I think a lot of the players as well are super